The college football experience 2023 week 9 preview and draft episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Randy Cross. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to the college football experience. Yes, we are here. We are continuing to preview every single week of the 2023 college football season. I'm super excited. There's a lot of off-season news that is happening. So I'm excited to talk a lot of this with you folks. And in case you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Why did I get mixed up with that bitch?
She got a
Whoops.
great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
There we go, folks. Shout out to Al Pacino, who he's 82 years old, just got a 29-year-old woman pregnant. Wow. All right. Talk about winning in life.
Yeah. Killing everyone.
That's the
crushing all of us.
The old Mick Jagger college experience plan, huh? I love it. And folks, the slate, we'll talk about it in a second. We got conference talk to talk about, but I'm joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Oh yeah, buddy. Let's go. We got football. We're talking football. By the way, we're about a week away from previewing 133 teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. I like to think it's new and improved too. We've been working behind the scenes over the past 6 months, trying to make this a better experience for the fan.
Wow.
We are also joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself, still playing DFS, USFL DFS. So hop on over there and do that. Remember, we host the USFL Gambling Podcast as well. But give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lack given, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's up, guys?
Let's just play this one.
Oh my God, the quarterback is toast.
Yes, shout out to Die Hard. And remember in Die Hard, they're watching Notre Dame USC when they come to check on Nakatomi Plaza. Which is crazy because he must have been catching it on a taped version of that because it was like midnight. Remember, like this is in the holidays. I feel like so.
Colby has broken this down.
Breaking down this movie.
Well, he's a lot like me. You're looking for a job where you can watch some film, watch some more football. So he gets a job just checking out Nakatomi Plaza. And, he's like, I can let people into the building. I can watch all these fucking games. All right, boom.
Perhaps he had to work earlier in the day. Perhaps it was like his anniversary and he couldn't watch it live. So he's watching it on tape replay. I like it.
And even better is he tells he tells the cop, because he's really the terrorist. He's like, I bet I got $50 riding on this game.
True D-Gen.
He's a D-Gen too.
And remember, that was $50 in 1988.
That's what I'm saying. 1988, $50.
$500 now.
Exactly.
And my wife wonders why I cry when I see him get killed later in the movie. All right, because he's a good fucking guy. He is a good guy, and John McClane didn't have any right to blow away that D-Gen. All right. So, folks, here we are, college football season, week 9. We're going to talk about it, but first we got rumblings all throughout college football. The SEC, they're going to 16 teams next year, and they are meeting in Destin, Florida. Where the hell is Destin? I said Pensacola. I feel like I've been to Pensacola, but Destin is supposed to be nicer than Pensacola because that's why they all meet there, right?
They call it a real destination.
Hey.
Then again, I guess if you're in Oxford, Mississippi or something, any part of Florida is probably nicer, right? Or am I talking out of my ass? I'm not sure. But
Destin, Florida looks like it is on near Pensacola, actually, on the Gulf Coast over near Alabama.
There you go. So they're in Destin, Florida. And they're getting a lot of steam behind this 8-game conference schedule with 16 teams.
Right.
Guys, just when we think, look, I hate the fact that we get these 16-team conferences. You know my opinion on this. I'm not directing all of that to the SEC. Big Ten, fuck you, right? And any other conferences that want to do the 16-team conference. But if we're heading down that road, I would at least assume that we're gonna get a 9-game conference schedule universally between the Power 5. But now there is a lot of talk that it's going to be an 8-game conference schedule.
It's essentially, just 2 combined conferences.
It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? I shout out to the stat. I feel like I should have this pulled up, but I believe I was, Alabama has played Penn State the same amount of time since 1981 as they've played Georgia.
That's
I
crazy.
repeat.
Wow.
Alabama has played Penn State the same amount of time since 1981 as they've played Georgia. Georgia is in their own fucking conference.
And they've played them a lot recently, like twice in the same season.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and even worse is this. They're talking about, so if they go to 9, which they're getting rid of divisions next year. So at least we wouldn't have that big of a break, but you would remove the secondary rivalry games. So that means if we have an 8-game schedule, the way that it seems like it's leaning towards right now, that means Alabama, LSU, we would get every other year. That means Texas A&M, we would get every other year. I got super excited. Like one of the things I enjoyed about Texas coming to the SEC, if there was any, was the fact that I was like, wait, maybe every Black Friday I'll be able to see, or Thanksgiving I'll be able to see Texas A&M again, because that's a great fucking rivalry.
Right.
But now there's talk that we might get it every other year, which devalues the fucking rivalry.
What that destroys the rivalry. It's not a every year rivalry.
Yes.
I mean, it's better than ever. Like now.
True, but still, come on.
It's
Do
less
this
of a rival. Right. It's less of a rivalry than every other game in the Big 12, because the Big 12 has had 11 teams and has a 9-game conference slate. So they play 90% of the other teams in the conference every year. Maybe one out of every 10 years.
This is so wrong. This is so wrong on so many levels.
The problem with this is that the SEC teams are going to have drastically different strength of conference schedules. You're going to have a team that has that a certain year they play Bama, LSU, and Georgia or something. Just throwing teams out there.
The problem is with this is that these SEC fans, look, you have great fan bases. Eli Drinkowitz was just talking about it, right? You got great fan bases, right? And I salute that as a college football fan, right? But you guys also talk the most amount of shit about playing and beating everybody, and this is SEC, and we're not afraid to play anybody but yourselves. You're afraid to play yourselves. You're the only fucking conference left that you in the ACC, but we all know the ACC. They actually probably need 4 out of conference games to actually help their schedule.
I'm surprised College. The ACC is still intact if you read Twitter. But here's who's been the most successful conference as far as winning national championships and making money since the college football playoff started? It is hands down the SEC. Part of it is due to the 8-game conference schedule, but you can't argue that. And so why would they switch up? I mean,
because we want to see these matchups. What they're going to do?
Give a shit about you. They give a shit about more money in their pockets.
I think this is a tricky spot they're in right now, because if they do this, that means Auburn, Georgia's not every year, because they want to preserve.
They're not going to do the 3 protected rivals
if it's 8 games, they're talking right now only 1 rivalry. So Auburn, Alabama would stay.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Texas would stay. Florida, Georgia would stay.
Okay.
But you would lose the secondary rivalries. That would happen every other year.
That's bad.
That's really bad. Yeah. And it's really pathetic, in my opinion. I get it. They're trying to
squeeze. Would
South
Carolina and Mississippi State stay?
Probably.
Right.
Probably. That one, I mean, who does Vanderbilt
stay? That rivalry goes back like
they just come on. Look, we're in the spot. The Big 12's playing 9. The Big 10's playing 9. The Pac-12's playing 9. All right. Please just do the right thing. We want to see Texas A&M. We want to see Auburn, Georgia. We want to see LSU and Bama every year.
Well, let me ask you this. Don't ask them to acquiesce to what you want. You're not their shareholder. Their shareholder are their fans, right? And their
fans want that.
People who want to their fans want to see them win national championships.
Dude,
they want to see multiple teams in the playoffs, and with less conference games, automatically putting an L on their schedule instead of having some cream puff.
You're telling me that Texas fans don't want to play Texas A&M?
Well,
every year. Yes, I refuse to believe that.
That's true.
I refuse to believe that.
There's no way they can go with one rival. There's no way.
You could argue A&M doesn't want to play Texas every year, which is why they left for the ACC.
Yeah, that's true.
To begin with.
Actually, I think it was Texas that was dodging A&M in the. I don't know. But
either way, come on. I mean, this is a win-win for everybody. I know they're trying to squeeze ESPN for more money, but ESPN, and that's another thing that was interesting about this. ESPN said, no, we're not paying you more money, which basically I think also kind of rules out them wanting to expand right now. And shout out to GBO Farms. I want to ask GBO Farms this. He is a Tennessee Volunteer fan. Is he okay not playing Florida every year? Tennessee, Florida is a good rivalry. What rivalry would Tennessee keep? The Bama one? I'm curious if they go with the 8-game schedule.
Well, Florida is keeping Georgia, so Tennessee's not going to be linked with Florida.
True.
So probably, I guess. So look, this is our Week 9 podcast. We just did a Week 8 podcast. In Week 8, we only had one SEC game in the top 10. I'm looking at Week 9. I see maybe just one SEC game in the top 10. Will this have an effect at some point? Yes. I mean, we're kind of like college football hipsters. Yes. Maybe the average fan doesn't care. Maybe the average fan.
I think the average fan wants better matchups.
Yeah, and you could argue that these last 2 weeks, the SEC slate has been pretty lackluster.
Look, no, I'm going to step in and say we're super hipster. Ole Miss, Auburn, all the way down at 15.
You think Georgia fans are okay losing the Auburn game and playing it every other year?
No, I don't. I don't think that at all. I think that GBO Farms says we will keep Vandy.
So he's obviously for it.
Rivalry.
There you go. Because Alabama has Auburn. Actually, no, he's right. He's right because Alabama would preserve Auburn if they go to the 8-game schedule when everyone's got one rival. So who does LSU keep then? Like Arkansas maybe, or
maybe
A&M,
maybe A&M.
To Pat Capa's point, all Power 5 conferences should be forced to play the same amount of conference games. The problem is there's no overarching commissioner, leader.
But this is what
there's nobody to the NCAA can't do that. So
I agree. But look, if we're all one of the things that I fucking hate, and I know GBO Farms will back me up on this, is I feel like there's been this shift to try to make college football like minor NFL, which I fucking hate. Right. But if we're going to do this, then God damn it, can we play 9? Everyone should be unified on playing 9. If we're going to model this after the NFL, which I don't want, then damn it, at least that's one of the good perks of it.
Let me push back. I don't think you ask them. I think you make them. If you want someone to do something, you make them, right?
Who makes them?
ESPN
Who makes it? You don't make them play 9 games. You discourage them from playing 8, or you eliminate the perks of playing 8 by having, I would guess, like
the committee. But the committee, the problem
beat them
is
in the non-conference slate. Beat them, and then when they're conference slate, when their non-conference slate is full of L's.
Couldn't you make the argument that if you're playing less Power 5 teams, therefore you're fresher to be playing another Power 5? You know what I mean?
But that's the argument of it against like Cincinnati right now, and we're still pushing for them, as a group of 5 to get their shot.
What?
So
I'm not pushing for Cincinnati.
We're not Cincinnati now, but App State, we would push for that, right? So what I'm saying is the reason that an App State doesn't get in the playoff is because they don't beat enough Power 5 teams, right? And so if the SEC now, the problem with this is the polls are still going to impact this.
I'm going to lose my fucking mind if we don't have Texas A&M every year. If you're in the same damn conference, I want to see that fucking game every year.
Because what would they do?
This is what we're getting when we're getting 16, 18, 20 team conferences. There's just no way.
Yeah.
This is so all this expansion talk that everybody eats up in the offseason. This is what it leads to. It leads to a conference with teams that are loosely affiliated and hardly ever play each other. That's what we're headed towards. Enjoy.
Is Hawaii's going to be in the Big Ten? Patty, so you can start lobbying for that?
Well, I think if now the Pac-12 is going to dissolve, so
that's
they
what I'm
can't.
saying. The Big Ten should snatch up Hawaii. Do it now. Do it now while you can.
Fit. Yeah.
Do it now while you can.
Rutgers,
I'm looking for
Hawaii,
Rutgers Hawaii rivalry week. It's going to be fucking fantastic.
Jersey Shore goes to
Waimea Bay.
Just don't fuck this up. You know what I mean? Like to me, like okay, when Texas
Jersey Shore, North Shore, that's what it is.
When Texas, that's great. When Texas and Oklahoma left the Big 12, and we knew all this radical shit was happening, and USC and UCLA leave. You're at least like, oh, one of the perks is we're going to get Texas A&M, which I think is one of the best rivalries in college football.
If they don't keep at least 2 rivalries,
it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
If they fuck this up, don't get me started. Just don't get me started. I'm a, what does he say in Pulp Fiction? I'm a race car. I'm out of red. I could blow. All right, I could fucking blow. Folks, before we get into it, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes. This episode is supported by Edge Boost, and Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be extremely valuable tool if, say, you have no money in your fucking account. Look, imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. You can get down on some of your favorite futures without, tying up your bankroll for months. Your wife won't be wondering, hey, what is this transaction? All right, keep it on the hush. Double down on your favorite bet you like, or I don't know, create an awesome middle or even hedge, even though I think that's for pussies, but Patty C, he likes to hedge. Look,
just random shit.
Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark. Right? You ain't got to worry about, catching a pool stick to the back of your dome in some fucking alley. All right. This isn't Roadhouse. You got Edge Boost. You know what I mean? You got Edge Boost. 0 interest. You're okay. Oh, you didn't pay that? Relax.
Your kneecaps are safe with Edge Boost.
All right. Yeah. Not going to look like Ewing on the Sonics. All right. Do you know a way, you can access more money to place your favorite bets without paying any interest? Because I don't know any, and this is the way you got to do it. Edge Boost, baby. Support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. Once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Problem with gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back on the college football experience. GBO Farms is asking if I ever figured out super chats. Nope. Colby, is that a band? The Bengals, are they back? Is that they lost the singer and just super chats? Super cats. I mean, super cats.
I wasn't sure where he was going with that.
You don't know the band, the Bengals? Walk Like an Egyptian?
No, I know them. I don't know super cats or super chats.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going.
We're trying here.
I don't know where I'm going.
I'm a huge Bengals fan.
Yeah,
I celebrate their entire collection.
I can see you and your daughters walking like an Egyptian playing that song. You know what I mean?
Man, I think everyone.
That song's not acceptable in 2023.
That's true.
You can't walk like an Egyptian.
Nope.
All right. Can't do that. God forbid you fucking
crosses
play
a
that.
line or two.
You don't go into a dive bar and play that on the jukebox. You will get your ass whooped. All right. Who knew the Bengals would be riot music in 2023? Folks, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about, but we do have a draft to do here. All right. And week 9 Week 9 is upon us. I think Patty C is on the clock, but first, NC Nick, what'd you make of week 9?
Pretty shitty. Coming off week 8, which was one of the best weeks of the year, we have fewer weekday games, still 7, but the quality of the weekday games is really lacking. And then if you look at Saturday, it's pretty unimpressive as well. It's going to be hard to fill out a top 10 or even a top 5. There's going to be some question marks in the top 5. So really, and once again, going back to the SEC, there's not that many good SEC games. If they're supposed to be the pinnacle of college football, how about we get some good games every week?
That's what I'm saying. Come on, guys. All right, look, you got all these blue bloods. Play each other. We don't want to see. Shout out to GBO Farms who tagged me in. Georgia hosting UT Martin, a night game, first night game in a while. Border battle. I tagged you in that, Patty C. We want to see. Come on, if you're putting all these teams in the fucking conference, we want to see it. I will say this. We got some scheduling news. They moved Nebraska Northwestern at Rutgers week 1 to Sunday.
Nice.
So now we have 4 games on Sunday. It's Beautiful. I have a feeling that maybe the head of Fox or CBS, whoever
is a listener,
is listening to old Pick Dundee. He hasn't dialed 1-800 Pick Dundee yet, but maybe he's just listening, waiting. My phone.
Maybe it might be a little bit of a stretch for him to make that call. Maybe he doesn't want any concrete ties between you and him. But that doesn't mean he can't listen and pick up on our ideas.
That's true, especially after my take about the Bengals and walk like an Egyptian. He's definitely terrified of calling 1-800 Pick Dundee. Yeah, but so we got that news, and we also got a slew of weekday games added, a bunch of Ivy League games, and then also Mountain West games. I think 7 Mountain West games going to Friday night.
Beautiful.
So something to monitor. Give us. We cover it all. Have you been seeing me on the graphics at TCE on SGPN on Twitter?
Colby's lighting it up.
I'm a fucking wizard now behind the scenes. All right.
I like the I don't know. It's kind of like 80s vibe with the graphics a little bit.
It's the only thing I know. 80s vibe, right? There you go. Yeah. All right. Only thing I know.
But all since the 80s.
Yeah. Look at this episode. We talked about Die Hard and the Bengals. All right. That hasn't happened since 1987. All right. And I'm not talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. All right. Look, we only have one Friday game that I see right now that could change, but that was one weakness to me is like load up on the Fridays. Now I think there's probably an Ivy League game now that I quickly need to adapt to see if there is, but weekday games I thought were a little weak. Syracuse, Virginia Tech is a form of torture in some countries, and But
Georgia State,
starting with the ACC hate already. All right, before we even pick the game,
dude. They had Bin Laden's right hand man, and you know what they did to find out where his coordinates were? They strapped him to a chair and made him watch 6 straight hours of Syracuse, Virginia Tech.
Come on, man. You wasn't working. Shredder going into Lane Stadium. Come on.
It's good. Okay, let's Patty C, you're on the clock. Where the hell is my draft music? You can't win. Hang on, that's not it. Here we go.
Well, fairly obvious this week, number 1. Are we in agreement on that one?
No.
Apparently
me and Nick were talking earlier today.
I'm with you, Patty. I think where you're going to go.
It's pretty obvious.
Last couple of years haven't been great, but go
I'm
ahead.
not really looking forward to it.
What do you mean they haven't been great? I guess there have been some blowouts. Last year was pretty damn good.
What?
Well, what game are you talking about? Go ahead.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Oregon, Utah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yes. See, Nick, we are all 3 on different pages. We're all 3 on different pages.
We have the last 4 Pac-12 champions.
No, I'm on board with this play
in a row.
It's better than Nick's play, in my opinion.
I think it's better than Colby's play, in my opinion. Also,
there it is. And let's be honest here. This is likely to play a major factor in which team gets into the Pac-12.
No, I agree. I'm on board here.
This is probably for a ticket to the Pac-12.
This is at
Utah.
Oh, they're gonna get fucked up.
At Utah. And look, I was talking with Colby earlier today. That Florida game at the beginning of the season for Utah, absolutely massive. Absolutely. It can't be overlooked. Going to Baylor right after going to be tough. But if Utah their schedule very hard, but if they are great, Cam Rising is this his 3rd or 4th year as a starter?
I think 3rd year as a starter.
3rd year, but are we looking at 3 years as a starter with 3 Pac-12 championships? Do they take the next step?
I'm going to say this right now, and the Pac-12 is the only conference that I think has, was it five teams with a win total over 8.5? And that's why I don't believe. Like, I know the Pac-12's history. I don't believe anyone's going undefeated in the Pac-12.
Yeah, especially a team.
I mean, USC didn't go undefeated, and they could have still made the playoffs last year if they didn't lose the second.
Well, they
time.
need well, you also need everything else to shake out correctly. Right. You know what I mean? But yeah,
when you play this many hard teams in a schedule, then unless you're Georgia,
Utah,
even if you're like a Georgia or Alabama, you play that much heat on your schedule, you're gonna get caught.
Utah plays Baylor and Florida. They play 11 Power Fives, and then Weber State, who beat the Mountain West reigning champ 34-3 last year. Weber State's like they would be a bowl team in the MAC.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like they would go like 7-5
solid
in the MAC.
UCLA, Oregon State.
I mean, if you have any hopes of making the playoff, you beat an average Florida team at home.
True, but I'm just saying.
I guess. I mean, last year, if you're a decent team that wants to make the playoffs, you beat Florida on the road. Utah couldn't do that, and they also lost on the road to UCLA and to this Oregon. This rematch of this game right here. So they lost 3 times. So Utah wasn't all that close to sniffing the playoffs last year. Maybe this year will be different.
They weren't. Like, they're not going to do it. I mean, look, I would like to see them, but I just think that's too hard.
Where is Florida? Florida, who is still like what? I'm guessing a top 15 talent composite team in all of football right now, even if they've had an off year. If they're one of the easiest games on Utah's schedule, that's a fucking hard schedule.
Oh, I think it
is a hard schedule.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to beat that, but if there's 10 of those, you're probably going to get caught once or twice. It happens all the time.
That's the argument. I feel like we a lot of times we'll get into sometimes, and that goes back to what we just talked about with the SEC and 8-game schedule. I get it. The SEC has heart, like playing at LSU is playing at is tougher than playing at a lot of Pac-12 schools. But
your biggest win is bound to be more impressive.
But when you got the Citadel and Middle Tennessee and Louisiana Monroe, as you kind of have a little bit of a net where you can rebound and get your team together. Oh, we won, as opposed to playing 11 teams out of 12 that are capable of beating you.
Of course, that's why it's so important for Utah to beat Florida at the beginning of the year. So the SEC does not have that, and it would be nice if they whoop their ass. But assuming that they do, they take care of business there. They are going to be Oregon at this point in the season has more or less. With the exception of the road trip to Washington, a cakewalk. I guess you could say the Texas Tech road game is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we would expect Oregon to be in position to still be in the playoffs, even with one loss at Washington at this point.
See, I think the Pac-12 is too tough, though. I think they're gonna. I think like even the USC will have 2 losses. This
There's going to be carnage.
Yeah.
Either way, this is going to be a fantastic game. And last year was pretty damn competitive, so a revenge spot potentially.
Before last year, Utah had won 3 of 4, so now it's just 3 of 5. But however,
we all remember those 2 games in 21 where it was 38-7 in Salt Lake City and 38-10 in the Pac-12 championship game. Not all that close. I mean, 2 just dominant performances where I'm pretty sure we were all on Utah in Salt Lake City, but then we thought that Oregon would at least cover the spread, considering it's the second matchup of the year. I wasn't in back-to-back weeks. It was only a few weeks apart.
Yeah. That said, the Dan Lanning factor, in-game coaching, the recruiting, the talent level is the same in Oregon as it was, but the coaching potentially better with Lanning running the show. Maybe that's why Oregon got it done last year. Are we going?
He's better than Cristobal.
In-game, you would have to think so. I mean, he's a lot to prove still, but as a coordinator, definitely, and then as a head coach far.
We could drive down to Occidental right now, and he's better than Cristobal.
let me say, here's the added aspect to this that makes this game intriguing, is Oregon and Washington are supposedly the next 2 in to the Big Ten, right?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Who knows if that'll happen or not?
Let's not even open up that can of fucking
I'm just saying, if the Pac-12 wants to survive, what is the one thing that's going to make any conference viable as a power conference, a national champion, right?
Well,
and
after this year, they have an auto bid. So after this year, they don't have to worry.
That's true, but depending on how many teams leave the Pac-12, it may not exist anymore. And I mean, Colorado potentially leaving. There's a lot of whispers about that. The type of thing that's going to keep Colorado around is if the Pac-12 has a national champion and the Big 12 doesn't, and they have a flagship program that is considered an elite school, and Utah needs to get there. And I mean, I'm sure the Pac-12 would love Oregon to do it too, since they haven't left, but if they're on their way out the door soon too, I mean, it's so vital that Utah perform this year. So I'm excited for that.
I am excited for this matchup. So Rice Eccles is like, that's a great environment to catch a college football game. Like on TV, I mean, I've never been to that stadium, but I'm saying like on TV, that is to me, like that is college football. So I'm excited for that matchup. Nick, you're happy with this play?
I am. No, so I think we all have the same three. It's the same top three. It's just in a little bit different order.
GBO Farms is saying no ACC games, please, Nick.
Well, is it my pick? Am I on the clock?
It is your pick. It is your pick. And let's go.
Not yet, GBO Farms, but it's coming. But look, I got it. I know the games I was talking to was that, the last two years have not been close, but you got to go to the world's largest cocktail party. I mean, Georgia, Florida every year is a classic college football game. Colby and I have been to it. We don't remember much, but I think it was a lot of fun.
I remember we were pretty hammered and we were spraying it. We had one of the suntan sprays, and we were driving past people spraying people with suntan. They didn't even ask for it. We're actually probably lucky we didn't get our ass kicked. But
as a person that's beat skin cancer before, I'm trying to look out for others.
Fair.
So so the last two games, it was a 27-point win and a 22-point win. And the question is, or the problem is that this year it might even be worse.
Well, I was about to say that, look, Florida's only won one out of the past, 6 years? So that's why I don't know that I care that as much as I used to. And those have been ass whoopings, 42-7, 35-7, or 36-17, 24-17. Back in 19 was a 7-point game. Even Florida in 2020, when there was no fans and Mullen Magic, they won by 16 against Georgia, and then 34-7 and 42-20. So only once in the past 6 years has it been a one-score game. Now,
but hands down is the best rivalry this week. I mean,
true.
This week
this game is awesome.
This week is very light on rivalries. There's some good matchups, but it's light on rivalries.
How do you feel about the talk that they've been playing this game with the exception of I think 5 or 6 years? Where they did it on campus in the 90s. They've been playing this in Jacksonville, and there's talk that they might move it to Gainesville and Athens and just rotate. Well, how do you feel about that, Patty?
I wouldn't mind it going on campus.
On campus is always better. Like, this is one of the few exceptions, like Texas, Oklahoma, where I'm okay with neutral
it's great
site.
even without it.
Yeah.
But
there's a few that
on campus is always better. So I'm totally fine with it.
Seeing a game in the swamp or between the hedges is college football, and and the more of that we get, the better. With the exception of them playing Furman, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want to see that.
I mean, let's be honest. There is something a little bit cool about the fans being split 50-50 down the middle. Every year that you don't get at a pure home environment.
You know what was great about that experience was everyone had planned to wear Georgia gear, right? So NC Nick, a bunch of our friends, we had a group of 10 people all wearing Georgia gear. And I said I would get mine when I get there. Well, we partied the night before, and it seemed like at the time everyone
Florida tits out.
Yes. So I showed up in some Florida Gator gear, which I'd never, if you had asked me in the mid 90s they were probably one of my most hated teams in the country. But I was there going, Gator, alcohol can make you go Gator, Gator, Gator.
That's not exactly accurate, because I was rocking Florida too. So the plan was to go down. I had the Florida shirt. Yeah. The plan was to go down and see who had the hottest chicks. And at that point, we're going to be fans of that team. So
that's a hot competition.
I remember saying, Gator, Gator, Gator.
That's true. But I feel like we had a plan. I feel like, weren't we tailgating with all Georgia fans? And then
we were tailgating with a lot of Georgia fans.
Well, here's the thing. Florida girls are bound to wear a little less, Georgia fans are more likely to be a little classier, little Southern belles. Florida fans are going to be in their Daisy Dukes, the tits will be out.
Well,
life is good.
I don't think we want classy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why Florida's the easy.
It's like we were in like a field tailgating with like I'm pretty sure they were just it looked like a Kid Rock concert. You know what I mean? Like
you blow your head off, or you go get drunk and hook up with some chicks.
But yeah, okay. I mean, look, I love the rivalry. I think it probably should have been played third this year because by the way, Florida's win total is 5.5 wins. Now, look, Vegas isn't always right, and normally we are.
Well, I got some ammunition coming your way once you pick your bet, or once you pick your game.
Okay.
Don't roast them too hard.
Yeah,
Warning shots have been fired.
Let's go.
Wait. Let me talk about Florida, Georgia. Just a hair more.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. It's amazing that Georgia's taken such control of the series because, like you said, it seemed like a time. What was it, like 18 times in 21 years that Florida got the better of Georgia, and Georgia was a decent team even still. Florida was just awesome. But the tide has turned. It is easy to see a tide turn. And look, here's one thing that's being overlooked here. Florida, the beginning of their schedule, should they pull the upset at home against Tennessee, say Napier gets it going a little bit in year 2.
Hey, GBO Farms in the chat.
Sorry, I'm not trying to. This is why GBO Farms. I am attacking you specifically right now. Should you guys take an L in Gainesville? Right? Should Joe Milton not be what he needs to be in Gainesville? Then Florida, even with a loss at Utah, would most likely enter the Georgia game 6-1. I mean, there are some hard games on the schedule, but if they are anywhere near Florida,
Florida lost to Vanderbilt last year.
That's true. I mean, I'm assuming a road trip to Kentucky's a win.
No,
well, I don't know why you should make that assumption.
Stoops is
I'm just saying,
lately.
if they're better, if they're a typical like even 8-4 level Florida team, that's the type of team.
I don't know why you
Kentucky.
think they are that though.
Because they're Florida and
that's it. Because they're Florida.
Have been that for 90% of the last 40 years. Okay.
But the past 10 years, they've had some tough seasons.
Right? You know, I thought you would learn, but because they're Miami, that doesn't really mean much anymore. You know,
is that going to happen to Florida? Is that what's going to happen to Florida?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that Florida's going to be an 8-win team this year.
I'm just saying the things that you guys criticized me. You laughed in my fucking face when I said Michigan will bounce back. Penn State was terrible 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they bounced back. Teams with this much fucking talent figure it out with an offseason to prepare.
Well, has Texas figured it out?
That's true.
Has Miami figured it out?
Franklin and Harbaugh have proven it at major levels before.
How about this?
Okay, true.
Florida's had 4 losing seasons in the past 10 years.
They're at risk of being it is wrong to assume that they're going to be better. But if they are, then they could be 6-1 or even 7-0. I doubt they beat Utah. I doubt they're good enough to beat but they did it last year. Shit. This time on the road. Either way, that could be a very relevant game this year. Florida, Georgia in the SEC East chase might be a must watch.
Well, GBO Farm says, yeah, you're talking shit. Oh God, I hope we beat Virginia by 70. I'll be honest, GBO Farms.
Easy cover.
I would lay the 70. All right, Joe Milton. I think he's got a cannon. All right, we lay the 70 against the Wahoos. All right, can I go to my game now, or do you want to
do it?
You want to try to puff up the Gators anymore?
I don't think we need to talk about all 30 games for 30 minutes each.
Okay, let's go.
All right, well, I'm going to get ahead of it. I'm going to get out in front of it against NC Nick because, I think he's thinking these have been blowouts, but not in Madison, Wisconsin. All right. In Madison, Wisconsin, when Ohio State has last gone there in 2016, they escaped in overtime 30-23. In the time before that in Madison, Wisconsin in 2012, they escaped in overtime 21-14. The time before that in Madison, Wisconsin, guess what? They lost. Ohio State lost by 13. And the time before that, Ohio State escaped with a 3-point win. And when you add in the fact that Ohio State's replacing all these players and Luke Fickell's bringing in the Dairy Raid offense.
All of a sudden he's on board with the Dairy Raid.
I don't think you want to go, speed spread against Ohio State. I think that's going to hurt Wisconsin. Yeah. I think.
But jump around, still jump around that environment. Yeah. Look,
I was aware of the close games in Madison, but close or not, Ohio State has still won 9 straight in this series. So Florida has won a game versus Georgia more recent than Wisconsin has against Ohio State.
True, but how the hell is it? At least Florida and Georgia play on a neutral site. How the hell is it that they haven't played in Madison since 2016? It's 2023. They haven't played there in 7 years. The fuck's going on here?
Well, they've probably only, I mean, don't look at the Big Ten championship games. They probably only played in Columbus once.
No, I'm looking
twice?
right now. No, 2022, 2019. All right. They played 2 in Columbus before. They played in the past decade. They've played 3 in Columbus, 1 in Madison. You figure that out for me, buddy. All right. What's going on? Huh?
I just think that, Ohio State has had troubles on the road against Big Ten West schools because they play the exact opposite brand of football they do.
Not Purdue, though. Purdue and Brom fucked them up, and they air it out.
Yeah, to a degree, you're right. But I just think you try to play their brand of football, you're not going to be better at their brand of football.
Generally speaking, that's the case.
Yes. I love the Dairy Raid name, but it should not happen at the University of Wisconsin. But is this game interesting because of that? Yeah, and I think Ohio State could be
true.
The worst they've been in some time because they're replacing so many people. Makes them a little vulnerable on the road.
I think the Buckeyes are going to be just they're going to be fine. They'll be okay. Wisconsin, I'm more concerned about Wisconsin than I am Ohio State.
I'm very concerned about Wisconsin.
Well, who knows Ohio State better than one Luke Fickell?
Yeah. How about that angle? How about that angle, buddy?
He's been gone a little while now.
Kirby Smart wasn't going Gator.
Here's an angle for you. If Luke Fickell wins this job, he takes Ryan Day's job at the end of the year.
Damn. Wouldn't that be hilarious? 1 year in Madison.
If Bobby Petrino can do 3 weeks in Las Vegas, Luke Fickell can do 1 year in fucking Madison.
That's true. If Bobby Petrino can do 1 night in county jail in Fayetteville, God damn it, Luke Fickell can do 1 year in Madison with the Dairy Raid. All right, Patty C, it jumps back to you.
Well. There are some options here. I almost want to steal your thunder a little, but I'm going to leave that for you, Cole. We are going to go to the Big 12. We're going to go to a game that gave Texas trouble on several occasions recently and could potentially be a source of trouble for them again. It is the incoming versus the outgoing, ships passing in the night. BYU Cougars traveling to Darrell K. Royal Stadium to face the Texas Longhorns.
Mormons heading into Austin. Hear that music on 6th Street.
That's right. Mormons versus hipsters.
I know they're used to the Utah Jazz that's renowned, but I mean, this should be a fun one. BYU, I think, has had they're 4-1 all time against Texas. Did you know that? Don't look now. And I think the one they lost, if memory serves me correct, BYU scored to tie it up at 17 and missed the extra point. They lost 17-16 in the final seconds because BYU missed the extra point. BYU's almost 5-0 against the Texas Longhorns. Their other wins, by the way, go back to 2014 where BYU ended Mac Brown's coaching career when they won 41-7
in Austin.
Yeah.
Talk about polar opposite cultures of program cultures. Texas is the ultimate, country club. We're just going to win on sheer talent. We're going to underperform every now and then. We'll get a coach that can put it together and we'll live up to our talent. BYU, meanwhile, grinding, to keep up with these guys.
Some of these games look 41-7, 40-20,
psychotic Mormons,
40-21, 47-6 was one of the other scores, and then 22-17. They're almost 5-0. They probably, Nick, I think I undervalued this game. I think it's better than what we thought. Mainly because I love the fact that new Big 12 taking on old Big 12 and a chance to flush the toilet on the Longhorns.
One chance.
Well, and Patty C's defense, I think he picked my favorite Big 12 game of the week. I just think he picked it maybe a notch or two too soon.
Well, your favorite Big 12 game of the week is usually like 54th pick. So I'll take that with a grain of salt.
And I think it's more fun when Texas plays on the road this year to see the opposing fans. But still, like this week, you really can't argue with much here. So it's a fun game. It sounds like a bowl game. It sounds like the Independence Bowl, like on a down Texas year or something.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's a good game.
Thank you.
Where are you taking us to, NC Nick?
I'm going to go Pitt Notre Dame. Now, you might look at the last game in 2020, COVID season, where Notre Dame won at Pitt 45-3. But this is a game. I mean, look, I knew Colby might argue with this, so I did a little bit of research. Both of these teams have won 9 and 11 games the last 2 seasons. So they've won 20 games over the last 2 seasons. I went to deep dive here to look at all the Power 5 schools that have won 20 games in the past 2 seasons. These 2 teams are on the list. You want to know how long the list is? The other teams? Clemson, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Utah, Georgia, Bama. That's it.
How can there be so many ACC
That's an argument
teams?
right there.
You know how there can be so many ACC teams?
There's only 2, Pitt and Clemson.
And Notre Dame plays an ACC schedule.
Not abbreviated.
Yeah. And so that's what happens is you get your 4 out of conference games, you puff it up. And then, you know, you just
Notre Dame routinely plays one of the most difficult schedules.
No, they don't.
Maybe it's died down a little bit lately.
They don't. I will argue that all day.
Look at some of the teams that Pitt has beat. They beat Tennessee. Sorry, Gibio Farms. Last 2 years, they beat Tennessee.
He's catching strays left and right. Gibio Farms.
So they beat an SEC opponent. They beat West Virginia. So they beat a Big 12 opponent. They beat UCLA, so they beat a Pac-12 opponent. Who the hell else do you want them to beat?
Whoa. They beat UCLA. Dorian Thompson-Robinson didn't play. Zach Charbonnet didn't play.
Well,
right?
Neither did Keaton Slovis.
Well, he hasn't played his whole career.
Well,
right?
He played every other game that year for Pitt last year.
And not the Tennessee game.
And then they had
Tennessee game.
Well, no, Slovis played that. He threw for 195 yards that game.
No, but he got injured in the last play of the half.
Well, he at least played some of the game. They had a guy named Hamburger Patty against UCLA, and they still won.
Dude, they had a 5th-year senior against UCLA. I watched that fucking game. It was at the Sun Bowl, the greatest environment in college football.
What is your argument, though? Pitt, because they're able to win with a backup quarterback, is
Colby hates
counterfeit?
Pitt for some reason, and I bring this up because Colby said West Virginia's been as good as Pitt over the last 5 years on last week's show, which is complete nonsense because Pitt has won 20 games the last 2 seasons, and there's only 9 Power 5 teams that have done that.
The past 5 years, you are right, but the past 10 years, West Virginia's the better program.
A little bit and agreed with me.
Well, look, Pitt is. They're just Pitt. They're not good. They're subpar. You know what I mean?
But either way, this is a good game because it's 2 winning programs that have been very successful over the last 2 years. You cannot argue that.
I'm on board. This is a good game, and I think Pitt's probably going to win this game.
Maybe Pitt is a little slept on, though.
At Notre Dame's tough.
No, well, Pitt plays good against good teams. They're capable of beating any good team, but they also could lose to,
that's
Villanova
or Western Michigan. That's the Narduzzi factor.
Yeah.
No, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably both of their most played rivals. I'm going to pull that up.
Both teams have won national championships since 1980. So you got that on your side.
Since I was born.
There you go. So you got that. Pitt, Pitt just bothers me because they moved to the NFL
Notre
stadium.
Dame's 4th most played rival. Notre Dame loves to play, to their credit, like either polar opposites like USC and Miami, or they like to play like, salt of the earth, Boston College, Pittsburgh.
Notre Dame is not salt of the earth. Notre Dame is high and mighty private school.
Yeah.
I think there was a time though that Notre Dame was salt of the earth.
True, but that time is a long time ago.
Well,
I would love Pitt.
You're against people coming up in the world, right?
I would love Pitt.
You damn socialist.
I would love Pitt, but I'm still mad that they moved their historic, awesome campus stadium to that filthy bullshit NFL stadium. All right. Just bothers me.
Yeah, no,
it's hard to. I get it. GBO Farms. I don't hate Pitt because I like the style of football they play. But the exception, you know what pissed me off? The fake slide though. Kenny Pickett and the fake slide.
All of Pittsburgh cringed at that one.
I feel like
that's true. That was an awful play. But you know what? Go ahead, Colby. Finish your thought.
As a society, I don't think we've gotten over that. That's one of the worst things that's ever happened in America, in my opinion.
We haven't processed that one.
Yeah, that's just really.
This
really
game though is
form.
at Notre Dame Stadium, and so it's going to be a fantastic environment. And you're going to have the Pitt Panthers. It's uniform porn. let's enjoy it. It's a great
and it's much better than at Pitt at that NFL stadium. So
true.
It's on
Very
a
true.
campus.
Very true. Very true. All right, finally. So someone with real cojones is on the clock. Look, and I would take you. Like, there's ECU plays a big game. Shout out to Nathan. Let's go. ECU plays a big game, but it's at a filthy stadium, so I cannot play that one right now. But I will take you to. This is tough a little bit. I'm gonna take you to. Oh, I'm a Big 12 guy. Actually, no, I'll take you. GBO Farms been catching strays, and I don't like it. I like GBO Farms. All right. I like GBO Farms. All right. And damn it, I'm going to stand up for him.
Oh, God.
Taking you to Lexington.
This guy gave more glee in Tennessee's losses over the past 5 years.
Kentucky. They thought they had a top 5 pick, and Will Levis. He goes in the second round. He's drinking fucking coffee with mayonnaise. The whole world's fucked ever since the Kenny Pickett slide, right? So they go out and they get an NC State quarterback. He can't win big games. All right, so Tennessee heads into Lexington. Who, by the way, they're hosting a college baseball regional. You're supposed to be able to have 3 hotels, so they kind of pulled a fast one. They got all the students for West Virginia and these other schools at dorms, at fucking dorm rooms. Some bullshit. I love it.
Where is that?
In Lexington.
In Lexington?
Yeah.
But
you
don't have 3 hotels in Lexington. I find that hard to believe.
Well, 3 real hotels. Come on. What are you gonna? They're gonna stay at the Jolly Roger?
That is part of the Bourbon Trail. That is, bourbon is trendy these days.
Well, not when Tennessee comes to town. They're gonna need that fucking bourbon because Tennessee and Joe Milton are gonna take a doo-doo pie all over that Kentucky defense. I like this rivalry, even though it's not much of a rivalry. And I know GBO Farms will tell me that there's not much of a rivalry because Tennessee owns this rivalry, even in Tennessee's down years. They have fucked up Kentucky, but I like this battle. I like the color contrast, right? You got the blue, you got the peach or whatever they say, right? The burnt orange.
I think some Tennessee fans are going to be mighty upset with you calling them pussies.
But anyway, they're doing battle, and I like it because they both produce whiskey. And look, I think it's an underrated new little rivalry. When Stoops came up, Tennessee owns it, but it's little brother factor here. Their states are right. Border battle.
Isn't this the one where Tennessee beat Kentucky? I mean, they were season-ending rivals, I believe, up until recently, right? And then recently, Tennessee has accepted Vanderbilt as their true rival or something. But for the longest time, this game was played on Thanksgiving weekend. Tennessee had won 31 in a row. But Kentucky has won 2 out of the last 6. It's not great.
Oh, it's another stray for. And GBO Farm says he's actually in Lexington right now for work. $350 for a Holiday Inn. He says, "Whew." All right, they leave the light on for you, right?
Jeez.
No, that's Tom Bodette. That's Motel 6.
Motel 6.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Tom Bodette's been on the Bourbon Trail. I have a -350 that he's been on the Bourbon Trail. All right, you guys want to back me up there? What side are you taking?
I would take the hard over that Tom Bodette's been on the Bourbon Trail.
I haven't seen Mr. Bodette on a commercial in a while. I hope he's still alive because he was up there in age a long time ago. But all right, so this actually makes for the second SEC game in the top 10. I had it just outside the top 10, but I like it. It's a good game. The Vols do dominate this series, but it has been a lot closer of late, especially in Lexington. So it's a good game.
Yeah, GBFR's cracking me up. You motherfucker. Your team is purple. Your mascot should be Whoopi Goldberg. Hey, Ted Danson tried that one. All right. Yeah. All right. Look, I just think it's a fun matchup. I think 10 years ago it was a snooze. 10 or 15 years ago, this was a snooze fest. When I was coming up, this was a snooze fest. It's become more intriguing.
Let's forget about last year, 44-6 Tennessee. Prior to that, Tennessee 2 wins by 4 points or less and a 27-point loss. You might say if you take out last year, Kentucky's been the better team over the past 3 or 4 years.
Look, GBO Farms, he tipped us $10 last time. Now, he's going to charge us. He's going to charge us $100 for this one.
I have no idea where that money went to, but it's a thought that counts.
It's out there. It's in the universe. It's good energy. All right. Get the ball. Wait, that's not my sound job. Where the hell is my sound job? Anyway,
sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Fire me up.
I can't find this. Why do I always lose this NFL draft thing? There we go. Try to see where you're taking us.
I'm taking you to what won't be a lit environment necessarily, but it will be a pivotal game potentially. We're talking about Florida State at Wake Forest, with them doing away with the divisions. Wake Forest all of a sudden a player to make the ACC championship, even though they made it a couple times. Much more of a player, and guess what? They've beaten Florida State the last three times they've played. So
they got, and a lot of college football media has Florida State playing for the national championship.
Are we going to see the Demon Deacons get it done against the Seminoles yet again and maybe punch their ticket to the ACC championship in Charlotte again this year?
They've had a tough time in Winston-Salem ever since 2015. So look, even their 2 wins, they're 2-2 in Winston-Salem, were by 1 score. Got to go all the way back to 2013 when they won 59-3.
Been a long time. This Wake program, solid decade.
Isn't that the crime of this all though? With all this realignment talk, it's like Rutgers somehow finds itself in the Big Ten. Missouri somehow finds itself in the SEC.
Yeah.
Wake has been really good over
Wake
the past
Forest
decade.
is going to find itself in the CAA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're going to be playing Richmond. All right. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, this realignment shit doesn't make any sense. It's like UCLA has gotten some royal ass whoopings over the past 15 years and they benefit off of this.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what do you make of this game, Nick? You're a Carolina guy. You going to go to this one?
I like the game, but Patty C fucked up. There's a better ACC game. There's a better ACC Atlantic previous game that is better because it's been I don't know closer, but it's at least it's in a better home environment. So I'll get to that.
Sure, but we're talking about 2 teams that have been to the ACC championship as opposed to 1 in the game you're referencing. So
fair enough. But I mean, this game deserves to be played probably top 10 or just outside of it this week because Florida State, people are thinking highly of them, and Wake Forest has been a damn good football team of late under Clawson. So it's an important game, and Florida State owns the series 30-9, but Wake Forest has won the last 3. So I like it. It should be played at least after the game. I'm about
one lower at least.
I was thinking about this. Like they lose Hartman and go to Griffiths. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're still going to be contenders for the ACC championship.
I was watching a little spring ball Wake Forest today, and Griffiths looked pretty good.
I caught it too.
Griffiths is a Northern Virginia guy.
Ashburn, Virginia.
Hello.
Out of Ashburn, Virginia. So
gotta root for Wake Forest.
There you go. The burn is alive. All right, NC Nick, where are you taking us in the ACC now? Chestnut Hill?
No, Raleigh.
I'm joking.
Right down the road from me. Clemson at NC State. Look, the last 6 matchups in Raleigh, NC State has won 2, and another game was a 1-score game. So they've damn near split with Clemson in Raleigh over the last 6 games.
My problem is they're cowards.
What's your problem?
They're cowards.
You're just a hater because
I will never forget. No, I will never forget the game where they're in Clemson. Clemson ends up winning the national championship this year. They're in Clemson. And their kicker misses 3 times to win the fucking game.
I remember.
Nothing is more NC State. That sums up.
Well,
what does he say?
That's what happened to ECU.
History.
That's what happened to ECU when NC State won their last year.
But that wasn't against the number 1 team in the land.
By Colby's logic, ECU is cowards.
No,
they're fucking cowards.
That's my connection, Patty C.
This is what I mean. Is they were playing the number 1 team in the land.
Yeah.
All right. Ask the Miami Hurricanes. what happened when they came to Greenville when they were number one.
Well, it's worse against the number one team in the land than it is against your arch rival.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys shit the bed. You
Well,
guys were
they did.
cowards against your arch rival. ECU is fucking cowards. Don't ever play that "We Believe" music around me again.
You sandbagging son of a bitch. Right?
And NC State may be ECU's arch rival, but ECU ain't NC State's arch rival.
Oh, really?
ECU
Who's the one that suspended the fucking rivalry?
What? Trust me. Any NC
because your
any
fans tore down your
NC
goalposts. We won't play them again.
Any
Can
NC
we-
State grad wants to beat UNC much more so than ECU.
Oh, get out of here.
Can we talk? Can we spit some facts about these games? Let's go.
Oh, I like talking shit to you. All right. And look, the fact is, NC State's only won one of these games ever since 2012. How about that?
They've won 2 of the last 6 in Raleigh.
How's that possible?
Let me
Oh, okay, does that go past 2012 then? Okay.
Possibly.
Let me say this.
Okay.
NC State coming off a bye, hosting Clemson. Clemson coming off the second end of a back-to-back road after going to Miami the week before. Is this a good spot for NC State to catch Clemson?
Has NC State ever won a big game?
Didn't they beat Clemson just 2 years ago? Didn't they keep Clemson
Yes.
out of the playoff 2 years
Yes.
ago?
Did they?
Yeah.
They kept them out of the playoffs though?
I don't know about that,
one.
but they beat it 2 years ago.
What did Clemson do 2 years ago? I feel like that was a pretty pivotal
I forget
game.
the
That was
specifics.
the year Wake won the ACC, or Wake played in the ACC championship. That was 21. That was the year that Clemson's offense was terrible. With your boy Tony Elliott somehow got a job after that.
Okay.
Finagled away to get himself a P5 job.
No, maybe Clemson could have gotten in. They did lose 3 regular season games. One was to Georgia, though, national champion Georgia by 7 points. And then the double overtime loss at NC State. They did lose at Pittsburgh. Shout out to Nick for pointing out Pittsburgh being a good team. Either way,
You're just finding a way to fit your fucking narrative. All right, look, here's the deal. Look, okay, this game is exciting because look, as much as I give NC State a hard time, you know, they are losers to the 10th degree, but they will pack that stadium.
Yeah,
And
Colby, which game's better, this one or Florida State Wake?
I think it's this one.
Yeah.
Because of the home environment.
Yeah.
Wake needs to. What's going on? Why can't I saw them invest more in their athletics? But like, what
It's
do the
a
fans
tiny
do?
private college.
Still, what do you got better to do in Winston-Salem? What's going?
Well, the people from Winston-Salem don't have any connection to that university.
They're in the Power 5. Go support.
Yeah, but a lot of
fucking
people
football.
that go to that university are from outside the area. So it almost feels like a have and have nots type thing.
I got you. Well, they should have Dave Clawson be their coach because they should get behind that because the guy's a winner. Anyway, it's going to go to me. I'm sick of these ACC games. I sit here and argue the ACC. It's disgusting. All right. There's been 3. This is how you know it's a bad week. There's been 3 ACC games in the top 8. All right.
You're still counting Pitt Notre Dame as an ACC game. That is like
well,
a half a game, 2.5 games.
Well, we had a pandemic and the ACC's like, hey, Notre Dame, here you go. Here's your conference. Don't get caught out all alone. Right. The ACC is such little bitches to Notre Dame. I can't respect them. I can't respect the ACC.
anyone who makes a smart business decision that Colby doesn't like is a complete
How is it a
bitch.
smart business decision?
Because they make a shit ton of money every time they play Notre Dame.
But they don't get the money when Notre Dame makes the playoffs every year. It's a terrible business
every
decision.
year.
Pretty much. You know, Notre Dame gets that treatment. I don't know if they've scored in the playoffs, but they've been there a few times, right? Let's jump on over. I'm taking you. You know what? Fuck it. Let's have an ACC party. Duke, Louisville.
There we
all right?
go.
At Papa
Nice.
John's. This game is actually better because Jeff Brown's got the fans believing. This is better than the Wake game because they avoid what? They avoid playing Clemson. I think they avoid playing North Carolina. Like they have just a great schedule. Even though it's 11 Power 5s, Louisville's got a great schedule. They're going to be contenders in the ACC this year. No one's seeing it coming, but watch out for Jeff Brown because Duke was 16 points away from being undefeated.
That's right.
All right. And Duke at Louisville is a solid game. And I think it's an important game on the future. Look, everyone's talking Clemson and Florida State. Nope. I think Duke Louisville's got just as much implications on the ACC championship as Clemson Florida State.
I love the game, and I do think it's better than Florida State at Wake. Patty C, I'm sorry to shit on your game again, But I do think Clemson, NC State's a notch higher. But I do love Duke, Louisville. A lot of good ACC games this week. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the good thing. If this was at Duke, I probably wouldn't play it because it'd be a shitty crowd.
Fair
but
enough.
I actually believe Braum has ignited the city of Louisville. I think they're going to get behind him. I think they're super excited. One of their own, and not only him, his brother played at Louisville, and his dad went to Louisville. So this is deep. All right.
I mean, I guess in Patty C's defense, these teams have only played 4 times ever. So it's not like this is like, a great rivalry.
Is vastly overplayed right now. It is way too high.
How many wins did Duke have last year, Nick? 10? 9 or 10?
9.
So you have
what? Louisville have what? 8 or 9?
So you have 17 wins between the two last year.
I admit, yes.
I think Florida State, Wake might have more than that though.
I think Wake won 8 and Florida State won 10, right? So maybe one more.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about the history of this program's beyond the last 365 days. Look, these teams sucked not that long ago, and we're not expecting them to make major leaps and bounds. Although I will say Elko and Braum are both very good coaches.
Louisville's won a Heisman Trophy recently.
You know what? It is a sleeper. I'm not going to give you too much of a hard time just because
Johnny Unitas.
Better games on the slate, I think.
Ernest Givens
and games I'm surprised you didn't take, but I
honestly think I have another one that'd be better. But I was in the ACC mood. You guys brought me into this shitty.
It's rare. It's rare. Just let them go, Patty.
Yeah,
I was in the ACC mood. All right.
It could be. This could be for a trip to the ACC championship.
100%. Everyone's just crowning.
And what's fun is that all 3 of these games, all 3 could be for a trip to the ACC championship. You can say that about all 3 of these games we just played.
There you go.
Wide open.
It's wide open. Look, folks, before we get to the next part of this, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final Contest. Yes, we've got 2 more free contests for the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals. You can enter exclusively on the SGPN app. Series props, games props. Oh, we got it all. $100 gift card up for grabs for each contest. Download the SGPN app and enter today. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And remember, as always, to let it ride. All right, we are back, and Patty C's on the clock.
I'm sitting here arguing your guys' points, and I got a couple that I've been looking at, but I gotta choose one. We are going to Big 12 country. That's without a doubt. Now, which one in particular we choose?
There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun out there.
God. I'm going to Lawrence. I'm stealing your thunder.
Yeah, that game's great.
I'm going to Lawrence, and Oklahoma going to Lawrence, Kansas. The game has been good over the past few years, and now Kansas seems like not the better program, but the team that might be in the better place coming into the year.
You know, Kansas has the 2nd most returning production in the nation. In the nation,
Who's the top?
Trying to remember who number 1 was.
I bet you Duke's top 10.
It might be. They might be number 1.
Leipold is a builder. I saw in a headline, we're not doing this for the short term. This was meant to be for the long term. They're just a little ahead of schedule.
People don't realize how good they were when Daniels played. They were, I think, 6-1 when Daniels started, and that one loss happened when in a game he got knocked out of. Then he played the bowl game. And they lost that game in overtime, but he threw for 566 yards or something like that against Arkansas.
If I'm going to play devil's advocate, though, I'm going to tell you that the Sooners have won 18 straight, and all of them have been by double digits.
Well, last year they didn't have Daniels.
Actually, I agree with where this is played. This is my 2nd favorite Big 12 game of the week. So Patty C and I are lockstep on our Big 12 games. I just have to point out that this has been completely
Did they really not get it done?
Lopsided.
You're thinking of Texas.
I'm thinking of Iowa State on Oklahoma, but I thought
but I think
Kansas got close. The one year they opened up the stadium and let everyone in at halftime, and they almost got it done. But who is it? The quarterback, that's the USC's guy.
Yeah, it was
Caleb Williams.
I thought it was. Oh yeah, you're right. It was Williams. That was that bullshit play where he fumbled it.
Yeah. I think they won by 10 that year, so technically a double-digit win.
That was on
the
fourth
last
down, though.
2 years. Last 2 years has been a lot closer. So actually, I do like to play this game, but that's a stat that was just too juicy not to say.
Too juicy not to say.
Kansas coming off a bye. Oklahoma coming off a home game against UCF. Maybe Kansas in a better place for this game.
Perhaps. Hang on, folks. And we are back on the B side of the college football experience here as Patty C just played Kansas and Oklahoma. Go listen to part 1 where we drafted our top 10 picks. We also talked about the SEC scheduling format and some other news. So go check out that good fun. NC Nick, you're on the clock.
Well, I suppose in most years I wouldn't care about this game, but Cal has won 2 out of the last 4 versus USC. Last year it was only a 6-point game in Los Angeles, and this is the last chance to see this game in Berkeley. So I will say USC at Cal.
Oh man, they're going to lose this one. This is the one, like when I was looking at USC's schedule the other day, I was like, what's the one that I don't see coming? And Wilcox, you're right. He plays USC really good. He's just a good defensive coach. So I think this is a sneakier game than some think. And I also think Cal, Jake Spavital, the new OC with the California Golden Bears, and Samuel Jackson, and I hope they burn in hell is the quarterback. And I've heard them raving about him. I know Phil Steele was talking about hit one of his surprise teams for college football in 2023 is the Cal Golden Bears.
I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, they've had some decent years. Yeah, relatively recently.
I don't expect more than that. I just expect them to be. I don't think they're like when you're looking at the schedule and saying that's a win. I think like Cal is going to make you earn it. I think Cal's going to be. I think they'll probably be a bowl team, but I just feel like each game you're going to have to earn it, and I feel like they're better than their record.
Well, and then USC was soft as fucking pillows last year. So against a hard-nosed team, a Justin Wilcox coach team, are they going to be able to? I mean, what did we say the score was last year to this game?
It was a 6-point game.
6-point game in Los Angeles. Shit. So okay, yeah, maybe. I mean, among a bunch of other, I guess there were some other close games on USC. So maybe USC, despite that record, all the close wins kind of mostly went their way. The 1-point loss to Utah when they maybe should have won that game.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, the last time they went to Berkeley, they lost. So I like it. I like it. I'm not going to blast it too much. Some people say, what, Cal?
Well, again, I don't know where Cal and Stanford stand. To me, those teams are shoo-ins for the Big Ten invite eventually, but a lot of people saying that's never going to happen. I don't understand it, but whatever, if that's true.
I just think they don't put football as their main focus, and that scares off
the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Could be, but talk about, a program in Cal that has no reason as the state flagship school
Why
of California.
They fire Ted? They need to rehire Ted. No, I like Wilcox, but Tedford had that thing rolling. I don't know why you would fire Jeff Tedford.
Dude, go hire. I guess Wilcox is doing fine, but like, I know you just said that, but fucking if
he did turn down Oregon to coach at Cal, which is kind of crazy in 2023.
If Wilcox, what does Wilcox have to do to get fired? And Tedford sitting on deck at Fresno.
I don't think he would go. What do you think he would go back?
He would go back in a fucking instant to Cal.
Tedford's he went to Fresno State.
I don't care. Cal is Pac-12 football.
Okay. Shout out to D Bettis. He says he's in this motherfucking bitch. Let's fucking go, Ohio State. We already played Ohio State though. All right, look, it's gonna jump over to old Rom Dundee here, and look, I just gotta take you too.
Gotta plug his guy.
There's a lot that I like that's still out there. All right.
No weekday games yet,
but I'm taking you to Pasadena, where the Colorado Buffaloes take on UCLA. We're only going to see this for 1 year. Dion against Chip Kelly. Almost said Jim Kelly. But look, UCLA is going to be starting Dante Moore, perhaps freshman quarterback. They have some questions. They got Carson Lexington Steele at running back, who might be the greatest human ever. And then you got Dion, who I think by this point in the season, even if let's say they start out like 1-8 or something like that, it's going to be still must-watch TV to see, are they improving each week? So, Colorado at UCLA. Look, UCLA, it's a sleepy crowd. You let them come in thinking they're hot shit, and the Buffs have just look. I was watching Colorado Air Force yesterday, the replay from last year. I don't care how bad Colorado is this year. They're going to be way more talented.
How many yards did Brett Edwards run for?
Brett Edwards looking like John Riggins 2.0. Look, that's what I'm saying. Like Colorado got raided in the portal a year ago, lost 26 guys a year ago. They had no talent on that team. This year, I know there's talent. Now, I don't know that there's talent at every position, but it's going to be a better team than last year from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah, you know what? I fucked up. This game, if this game is on the same time at USC Cal, I think Colorado UCLA gets the big screen.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Patty, see what do you make of Colorado UCLA?
Well, we have to see what Colorado does. I mean, we're making big assumptions that because Deion Sanders was able to go into, the pretty broken down ranks of HBCU football and bring a bunch of 5 and 4 stars in and crank out some wins, that he's a magician of a coach. Look, he's finally facing,
but they'll still have more talent.
Similar
level. He's a hater.
Talent. They'll still have more talent, like
than UCLA. Let me tell you.
No, than Colorado last year.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it will be more competitive just based off of the roster.
Well, not necessarily, because if he can't coach for shit, but now he did do a good job of bringing in coordinators.
Sean Lewis.
He is a CEO, so I do expect them to improve. But are we going to be looking at a competitive game here? Colorado is pretty bad. We're going to see what Shedeur
Don't you want to have some fun, Petty C?
I do want to have some fun. And the 5 people in the stands for this game is going to make this fun.
I don't know. Deion, if Deion is Hollywood style,
Deion might pack out the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. I can see this. Look, hopefully they don't run out of vodka like they did with the Jay-Z concert. So
amateur hour. Look, they lost by 15 at Oregon, UCLA. They had a 6-point clunker at an improved Arizona. They only lost by 3 against USC, and they lost by 2 against Pitt, who we mentioned is Alabama level. So this is a pretty good UCLA team. Granted, Dorian Thompson-Robinson not walking through that door, but if
they lost Charbonnet too, so they did lose some guys.
I expect a relatively.
You just said they have Carson Lexington Steele, so who cares about?
He might go for 200 on Colorado's defense. And I got to be honest, even as a Buff fan, I'm here for it.
To see those,
I'm here for
flowing golden locks.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. All right, Patty C, it jumps back to you.
I was eyeballing this game earlier. I think it needs to be played here on sheer just quality of football. We are going to Waco, Texas, where the Iowa State Cyclones will play the Baylor Bears.
Let me ask you this: how surprised would you guys be if this was the Big 12 championship this year?
I would be a little bit, because Iowa State took a step back, but yeah, not all that surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised.
TCU Kansas State would have surprised me last year.
Yeah.
Well, you know who the odds-on favorite are? Top 2?
Who?
Texas Oklahoma.
Yep.
Shocker.
That is fucking stupid. Hey, if there's one bet you can make right now, go make it. Fade that one.
Texas and Oklahoma are the odds-on favorite to play in the Big 12 championship, but Iowa State, Baylor, NC Nick, you hate the Big 12. This is probably one of those ones you do hate, and I think this is a pretty good. Like this gets me excited to watch the Big 12 football here.
It's not my favorite game, but it certainly deserves to be played here. I mean, Baylor's won 3 out of 4, but each game has been a 1-score game, so it's a close game.
This is the one last year that Matt Campbell got robbed. So this is the one. This was the worst call of the season last year, out of the whole season. The targeting on which was their backup safety. Remember, like a week before the season started, their starting safety took NIL money and left for Ole Miss. And Matt Campbell let it be known that it was clear tampering. But then they're thin. They're using their backup safety. This targeting call was the worst call of the college football season last year. And if you listen to some Iowa State fans or people that cover the Big 12, Dave Aranda and them attacked the safety position right after that because they knew they were 3 deep on the roster.
Well,
and
that's smart coaching.
But that targeting call. You were watching with me. This was the worst call of the season last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa State really on the short end of the stick a lot of times last year. 7-point loss against Baylor, 3-point loss at Kansas, 1-point loss against Kansas State, Big 12 champion. 3-point loss at Texas.
Remember, they were starting a brand new quarterback, brand new running back.
6-point loss at Texas or at Oklahoma State. 4-point loss against Texas Tech.
Telling you that let's smash the over on the Cyclones this year.
Yeah, for a 4-8, that was the best team that ever went 4-8 in the
I
Big
think
12.
I was on the over last year too, though, and didn't hit. It didn't hit, but I still agree. But so no, am I that excited to watch Iowa State Baylor? Not really, but the game certainly belongs to be played here due to the quality of each program.
Hater, he's a hater, but you know.
I mean,
I tried to say a couple nice things in there too.
Baylor, probably better than their record, 6-7 last year.
That crazy BYU game.
And they almost beat TCU, who went to the national championship. If TCU doesn't hit a field goal, like running their kicking team,
fire drill style. Yeah, that was why I'm telling you, both these teams I think could be better than what we think.
Yeah.
NC Nick.
Well, we had the ACC portion of the show. Now it is officially the Big 12 portion of the show. I'll go, even though this sounds like an old Big East game, which doesn't really make sense because I don't think UCF was ever in the Big East. But West Virginia, Central Florida.
South Florida was.
But either way, West Virginia at UCF sounds like a Big East game from like 12 years ago. But no, but either way, it's a fun game. And West Virginia has always recruited the state of Florida hard. There's 10 guys currently on their roster from Florida. So I think that's a little extra intrigue in this game because that is, obviously fertile recruiting grounds that West Virginia hits up often.
These games are going to be fun, man.
Noel Devine is the state of Florida let get away. And where did he go to?
That's
West Virginia.
These Big 12, I'm telling you, I love the new Big 12.
This does scream like Thursday night, though, Friday night.
True. But call me pick your mark because I'm all on board with the Big 12 because, man, I find this matchup fun.
It is.
I find this matchup really fun. What do you think of West Virginia UCF?
UCF has finally become a fun team to me. Before they were kind of like the annoying team that like just kept winning, so you kind of had to respect them. Now with Bryce Plumlee, I always fucking draw a blank on the coach.
Gus Malzahn.
Malzahn's one of the most fun coaches in all of football. So they're kind of like. And then West Virginia being what it is, the game is where though it's at the bounce house.
Yeah, moon bounce.
Oh, that
crazy bastard.
This should be on a Friday or a Thursday, but
you're thinking of UCF as a AAC team.
Yeah, true.
So now you got a brand new, and look, you're right.
Does the Big 12 play weekday games?
Yormark, I think, has started to do Friday games. I think they might move a couple others too. There's some flex spots.
Prime one to Friday night because Friday night right now is very open for a big time game. This would be great Friday night.
Flex it up. Let me say this: for as out of place as West Virginia has been in the Big 12 and not much of a regional fit, and it being a problem for them, Central Florida is both a cultural and a regional mismatch. I mean, West Virginia at least is a bunch of fucking rednecks like the rest of the Big 12. Central Florida's down there. Well, I guess Central Florida is probably rednecks too. Maybe it is a cultural fit. It's a different kind of cultural fit, though. It's more beachy. I don't know. UCF is gonna take some getting used to accepting UCF as a Big 12 school. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying.
And BYU isn't a good fit, or that is a good fit.
I do think BYU.
I think they should do BYU West Virginia every year because the culture clash is just amazing. Right. If I was commissioner, I'd be like, I don't give a shit. That's happening on the schedule.
You're getting you're getting alcoholics versus like non-drinkers. So that's
perfect.
That is beautiful. But
how many Mormons are in Iowa or Kansas?
None, right? I mean, Idaho, I feel like, right? They should get Boise State. They should get Boise State.
I would imagine those are two of the reddest states in the union, though, Utah and West Virginia. So maybe there's some common ground that they can agree upon.
The union. What is this?
This guy's going back. This guy's going back.
Look, we are the United States. It is a union.
NC Nick mentioned the Big East. Patty C's taking it further back, saying the union, baby. Let's go. All right, look, I'm taking you. All right, look, I'm going to take you to a filthy stadium, but it needs to be played here. because there's a lot of talk about this Meep, Captain Harris, Frank Harris, rolling into the AAC and just winning the thing. Did you see the line, by the way, that ECU Michigan game?
Was it 30?
38.5 or 39?
Ooh. Disrespect.
Lock it up.
Man.
Lock it up. You can have all your captain comeback bullshit all you want. We'll meet you in the middle of that locker room where you guys can't get in little fights. Fuck you, Michigan. Bunch of private school pussies. I know they're not private school, but they act like they're private schools.
They want to be.
Right? Yeah. Look, ECU's heading into the house that J.R. Reed built. And the Alamo Dome, where no football game should ever be played, if you ask me. But sometimes you gotta go there and make that statement that, hey, you guys are a bunch of cowards. You play in you play in a church. All right.
Welcome to the American.
Yeah. And we're gonna give you a slice of good old fashioned American pie.
Among domes, the Alamo Bowl is one of the better football environments. Not that that's good. Not that it's a good thing. That's like saying
if you told me right now, press the button, I would do it in a heartbeat. All right.
Let's press the button.
Blow that thing up. I don't care how many pairs of David Robinson socks are hanging from the rafters. All right. I'm all over
rolled up socks.
Fuck you both.
Yeah. ECU at UTSA. Friday night. Come on. Give us this Friday night. Give us this glory Friday night, because we will go into that filthy roller rink and fuck them up. All right.
What are the odds of both of these teams within this conference? Have those been released yet?
I know the odds on favorite. It's Tulane and UTSA is the favorites.
Gotta be.
ECU's got to be in striking distance for that, though.
Not really.
They got destroyed in the portal.
Right.
Okay.
They got absolutely destroyed in the portal.
Maybe
but
that's overconfidence on my part, seeing Mike Houston as a program builder. I think
we got Jerry Rice.
I think he's gonna.
Yep, we got a kicker.
That's huge. You know, those are major things that they didn't have before. So I think ECU will contend. This could be an important game.
Nick, what do you make of this game?
It's a solid game, but you're right. I mean, if it's a weekday game, I think it's played here. But considering right now it's on Saturday, I think it's a little early. Granted that you have some personal reasons to pick it, so I guess I can't complain too much.
Colby
is UTSA a future Big 12 team 10, 15 years down the road?
I'm not even talking about that shit. All this fucking realignment stuff. We could talk about that for days and it wouldn't mean shit because nobody knows.
Is East Carolina the best football school in North Carolina?
They are probably the 7th. Right after Gardner Webb.
Hey, they made the FCS playoffs. Don't sleep on the running Bulldogs. Right. Yeah, this game's perfect. You guys are haters.
It's a hipster play. It's a hipster play.
This will probably end up being better than Duke, Louisville. Louisville wins by 4 touchdowns. I know. But that was because it was an ACC. We were doing an ACC thing. All right. ECU, UTSA. Dude, if this was in Greenville, this would be like top 5 game of the week. But instead,
it'd be fun. It'd be a lot funner in Greenville.
Yeah.
But what isn't funner in Greenville?
That's true. That's true.
Touche.
We use the word funner a lot in Greenville, too. Very common. You can't go into a bar without hearing funner. It's a word in Greenville. Funner is a big word in Greenville. All right. It's like let's have a funner time tonight.
It was STD.
Yeah. That's the next one. Let's have a funner. They say normally that it goes hand in hand. Let's have a funner STD this time.
STD is a thing. Yeah. It's not talked about though. You don't hear that word.
All right. Patty C, jumps back to you.
Okay. Well, a little bit of a drop off, I feel like here. You know what? We are going to Minneapolis, where the Spartans of Michigan State will take on the Golden Gophers of Minnesota.
You're not even excited saying this one. Like, I'm going to Minneapolis where
I'm wearing a Michigan State hat right now, and I almost fell asleep.
Look, okay, Mel Tucker didn't have the best year of his career. He's not earning that $10 million a year salary just yet.
People are saying he's on the hot seat. You believe that? I don't know that they have enough money I mean, I guess they have a lot of money.
Yeah,
but
this is very much Jimbo Fisher territory for Michigan State. They want him. They need him to produce. Meanwhile, PJ Fleck still living up to expectations in Minnesota. This is a big game for both of them, though. This is the type of game that both of them need to make their season either, up to snuff or not.
And see, Nick, you got family involved with the Michigan State program, and so you look forward to catching Sparty play ball. Noted Big Ten West hater, but Michigan State resides in the Big Ten East. Does this game move the needle for you?
Not so much, man. I don't know. I mean, look, it's a decent game. I guess at this point, I mean, what's left? To be fair, what's left?
How about this stat I saw? Mel Tucker has 13 10+ point losses during his time as Michigan State's head coach, and he has only been a head coach for 32 games. All right.
That's a third year games and you lose by double digits. Wow.
They've been getting their ass whooped a lot. Patty C still convinced he's Nick Saban 2.0.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that we've been talking bad about him for a while, so we're almost rooting for him to fail because we can say how right we were.
I am not. To have a good time. We got Dion. All right, we got fucking Travis Hunter. This is the best thing that ever happened in Colorado. All right, don't have to deal with his shit
Be
anymore.
careful what you wish for. If Midnight Mel outperforms primetime, you're going to be pretty salty at
In
Midnight
what?
Mel.
In what?
In wins.
Dude, you act like he lit Colorado on fire. He went like fucking 4-8.
He beat a Michigan team that went to the playoff 2 years ago. That was a pretty impressive feat that Mel Tucker did.
So he's got one good win.
Look, 11-2 a couple years ago, just because they had an off year.
Pitt without Kenny Pickett.
Look, you can tell he says he's all in. He loves Mel Tucker now, but the bitterness is still there.
No, I don't like Michigan State. You know what I mean? I think they're
what
just.
do you have against Sparty? They're fucking
Larry Nassar.
Okay, but everyone's got that. Fucking Ohio State's got that.
Yeah.
Penn State's got that.
Right.
Michigan's got that. If you're in the Big Ten East, you're paydoing it up.
Go Rutgers.
There's been a lot of trips to Epstein Island if you're in the Big Ten East.
That's right.
I don't think Greg Schiano ever got a trip to Epstein Island. All right.
He was down in South Florida for a while, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Michigan State, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota might win the Big Ten West this year, though.
It's a solid game. It really is.
Yeah.
It just sounds boring.
Again, Nick, Big Ten West hater.
Yeah.
To me, this is like this is fun. This is like
It's not fun.
this is like these are almost glamour Big Ten West programs. Anytime you put yellow in your uniform, the golden, you become a glamour program to me, right? That's why UCF really should stay the Golden Knights. They are the Golden Knights. Michigan State is less. They're like a salt of the earth. They're a little brother to Michigan. They're always going to have like a little brother syndrome. But Minnesota is kind of a flashy program.
Minnesota is not flashy at all. Have you watched them lately?
Hold your tongue. They're the last team in college football to win 3 straight national championships. Granted, that was 90 years ago, but the tables are going to turn with
There's
PJ
been
Fleck.
absolutely nothing flashy about that offense the last 5 years.
Yeah, they got the Mighty Ducks movies for in Minnesota. Right?
They have cool uniforms.
I do like Minnesota's uniforms, but let's go.
He's what is called a born loser. A real monster.
NC Nick, you're on the clock.
As much as I want to have weekday Nick make an appearance, I can't do it just yet.
Weekday ACC Nick or weekday Nick?
That's yet to be seen. I'm gonna go one more Saturday game. I'm gonna go South Carolina at Texas A&M.
I like this game.
It's a decent game. Not fun, but it's decent. It's probably better than Michigan State, Minnesota.
You know why this one's fun to watch though is because of the pressure. The pressure for Jimbo Fisher and Steve Adazio and Bobby Petrino and God knows who else is on that coaching staff. All right. They might have Larry Nassar on that fucking staff. Yeah, it's intriguing. It's intriguing just because of that. And then you have Beamer Magic, which seems to be a thing.
And Beamer Magic playing with South Carolina, it's just like no expectations of South Carolina, pure house money. It's the perfect guy to be, perfect program for Beamer Magic to be at.
Yeah. I mean, this game's probably should have been played a little bit higher, probably, maybe.
There's one other SEC West game that deserves to be mentioned soon, too. And the question is, which game is better between these two? That's a tough question.
That is a tough question. I think it's probably this one. If I had to guess,
obviously I leaned the same way.
What's the history on this game? I know they play every year for some strange
They've
reason.
only played 8, so they played 9 times, and A&M won the first 8, but South Carolina won last year.
But they had to play every year. This is their thing. This is their rivalry. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It's like, we're gonna give you this rivalry.
Yeah,
and this is the game that I meant to say way earlier in the podcast. I think I said South Carolina and Mississippi State. I meant to say South Carolina A&M.
Yeah. Thank you for this. Thank you, college football world, for giving us this barn burner of a rivalry. This is pretty much like Rutgers and UCLA when they start playing, but they're 2 better football programs.
And the other thing is Rutgers, UCLA. It's like, okay, you're the new guys. Go ahead and play. If South Carolina ever doubted their status as redheaded stepchild of the SEC, you're one of the oldest programs in the SEC. I guess they were an ACC team originally.
No, they're not one of the oldest.
Yeah, I mean they're at least
they were added like
at least 50 years old.
Something really?
I feel like the 70s.
It was like late 70s, early 80s. It was a long fucking time ago.
Okay, maybe not one of the older ones, but they should have a better rival, at least a regional one.
I mean, come on, put Texas. I mean, it's just
give them Vanderbilt. Shit, it's better than A&M.
I mean, it is a weird rivalry, but I think this year's game is going to be good. I think it probably should have been played a little higher, but. So good play there, Nick. I said something good about you. Eat shit.
Should we talk about the game itself?
No, I think this is a compelling game because Texas A&M they're almost like Dion, where it's like you want to watch it each week because this team was horrible last year.
Right.
They have this all talent everywhere. They have coaching names everywhere. They have endless money. Their NIL collective is fucking insane, but they're just a weird team. Like I feel like they're must watch every week to see if it implodes or see if it works out.
Of course.
Well, I think they're must watch for at least the first few weeks of the season, and then you'll probably have a pretty good guess of what they are.
I noticed they ducked UMass on the return game for the JFK Bowl.
That game was a little too close last year.
It was a 10-3 game going into the fourth quarter.
I mean, they barely beat UMass, but they beat LSU. They probably should have beaten Alabama last year.
They lost to App State.
They lost App State. So who is Texas A&M? You don't know. It depends on the week. Meanwhile, South Carolina, Spencer Rattler, Beamer Magic. There is, even a road trip to College Station is not safe.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Great atmosphere. I've been to College Station. Their fans are legit. All right, it jumps over to Dundee. Oh man, I guess I guess I got to play the other SEC game here. It's not as if Coach Leach, our friend, rest in peace, was still here, this would be higher up for me. But you want to talk about another mystery team where I have my concerns because they're not going to run. Will Rogers is a lawn chair. He's the most experienced quarterback, I think, in the SEC as far as throws. They're running him not out of the gun anymore. He's going to be under center. Interesting. Mississippi State at Auburn.
That's a big transition from the air raid.
Yeah, and he ran the air raid in high school too. So I've seen some people sold on Mississippi State, and look, I like Zach Arnett. He's a Rocky Long guy. I am a Rocky Long guy, so I want to buy in to the story. Coach Leach, his players, but I have no idea what the fuck to expect. And then you have Hugh Strip Club Freeze on the other side of this, which, by the way, hilarious quote in Destin, saying that that we've lost our soul in college football, and I don't even know that I would be coaching if it was today and I was getting started. I don't even know what the fuck are you talking about. You just got
while he's cashing his paychecks
at Auburn, who just brought in 1,000 transfers. So this guy's a fucking please coach another game from the hospital bed because you're fucking hilarious. All right.
Yeah. Didn't he get a fucking his quarterback from Auburn?
Dude, this is ridiculous. Malik Willis. Willis. I mean, this was just what some of the quotes. Eli Drinkowitz also says, these players are making more money than my brother-in-law, who's a doctor, and he saves lives. Yeah. And you make fucking like $6 million a year, you stupid fuck.
Yeah. So do you.
Yes. And you just coach football. Some of these statements are unbelievable. They're unbelievable. But anyway, Mississippi State at Auburn. Nick, your opinion?
No, the fact that this game goes all the way back to 1905 And even though Auburn dominates the series, I mean, Mississippi State has won 2 in a row. They've won 3 out of 5. They've won 6 out of 11. It is funner with Leach, but the fact that Leach is gone does the silver lining is that we have 2 brand new head coaches here, and it's an interesting matchup. It definitely deserves to be played here.
Yeah, I still like this.
In terms of most played rivalries, this is Auburn's second most played game to Georgia.
Wow.
And it is Mississippi State's fourth most played game. So these teams are familiar with each other. Let's hope they continue to play on an annual basis because
Leach went 2-1 against Auburn. 2-1. There we go.
There you go. Who do you favor here?
Like I said, Mississippi State's kind of in the Texas A&M bid where I am very curious to see how they are this year.
Actually, last year I don't think Leach coached.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
He coached all the way to the bowl game.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, coached all the way to the bowl game, buddy, because he won the Egg Bowl. It was the last game he coached was the Egg Bowl, and he won.
That is pretty cool.
That is awesome. But yeah, I think this game's just compelling. I would watch this. This is college football. This is another one that's just like the epitome of college football. Please don't fuck this up. All right. This is a great game. Patty C.
Fuck yeah. Small town Southern football in a, if it's like, this is like what Texas high school football is to the college football scene. Just, it means everything to these places.
Yeah, exactly. So folks, before we get to the next thing, I want to tell you that we're brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which you can get, which that can be a valuable fucking thing. You're spending money on who knows what, and all of a sudden you look to bet on the games. You don't have any money. All right. Take out a little loan. Don't worry about it. 0 interest. All right. You're not going to worry about the loan shark, Jimmy Two Ties, beating the piss out of you. All right. So what are you doing, folks? This is a good way to do it. All right. You have no interest. You can pay it off in payments. Come on, get in on the action. Support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back on the college football experience. And Mississippi State Auburn just played. It jumps back to Patty C.
Well, I'm going to take you to... Wait, I just saw another game that I liked, but God, that game's not that good either. Oh, what are we gonna do?
Please take us to Coral Gables.
We're not going to Coral Gables.
Oh, a couple of Big 12 games out there.
Well, what about last year's Classic? Do you guys remember last year's Classic?
Which one was that?
Miami, Virginia.
Oh yeah, overtime.
So what was that? Like 6 overtimes? What was that?
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that shit.
That dude with 6 overtimes, it was 14-12. Hilarious.
Offensive football at its finest. How's that even possible? Aren't they forced to
I know.
go for 2
They
points?
Must have missed field goals.
Yeah.
What's worse, that or 0-0?
It's true.
That's
ACC
true.
football.
It's right. ACC football killing it. But
let me tell you what I'm going to do.
What's that?
This is kind of probably going to underwhelm you guys, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh shit.
We're going to Palo Alto.
Oh,
Washington travels to Stanford. If I'm not mistaken,
had trouble. I think
Washington has had trouble in Palo Alto, and Washington is one of 4 teams. Washington's preseason top 5 according to ESPN. If they're prone to drop a game that they shouldn't, if they really are this good, this could be a hiccup.
They've been playing since 1893. You got that in your corner. Damn, the all-time series 45, 44, and 4. So Washington with a 1-game lead, but Palo Alto has been a tricky place for the Washington Huskies. They won by 7 and 21. But the time before that, they lost by 10. The time before that, they lost by 8. The time before that, they lost by 17. The time before that, they lost by 3. So damn, they only have to go back to their second win in Palo Alto. You got to go back to 2007.
And they've been playing every other year there, right?
Yeah, every year, single year. They're
Palo
in the same.
Alto.
Oh yeah, every other year. Yeah.
I feel like this is the same conversation we had last week when it was Washington at Arizona State.
Yeah, well, Arizona State though in general, something about Tempe. I feel like it's not like Stanford.
It's the temperature.
Yeah, the temperature. Now.
See what I did there?
No, but I actually really believe like
Pauly Shore there for a second.
we were talking Nebraska, number 1 in the nation in the 90s when they had to go into Tempe. Something about Tempe, I think, makes it a tough place. It doesn't matter the records.
That
Palo
makes
Alto,
sense. The hot desert night, that makes sense.
Right.
Palo Alto,
Palo Alto, I feel like is like the worst place to see a college football game in America. Maybe
there's worse, but
there are trees in the air. There's a reason Stanford has a tree as a mascot.
They have. Come on, if they just invest, they need Harbaugh back. Harbaugh had this thing rolling.
He did.
They're an interesting team because Troy Taylor was really good at Texas State. Maybe they'll be.
This is going to be a high scoring affair. We'll say.
Honestly, guys, this game doesn't do much for me.
Well, that's because you'll be asleep. You haven't. You don't play these Pac-12 games. Anything Stanford, you hate.
Stanford. Earlier I played USC at Cal,
but I'm saying anything Stanford you hate on, and Stanford actually
boring.
Well, let me tell you,
they've had a great history over the past
and Stanford
15 years of college football
is a surprisingly good recruiting team. You think of them as just getting a Northwestern or like a Duke level recruiting in football. No, they go out and they get dudes from all over the country. They get top 5 players because they're academics. That's the one place where academics really fucking factors as a positive.
I don't know. They're pretty boring, pretty white.
All right,
a lot of white running backs.
Your white guilt is showing, Nick.
He's not a McCaffrey guy, not a Toby Gerhart, not a Brad Muster guy. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Tommy Vardell. Anyway, so I think it's a possible trap game. Possible trap game. Fancy Nick, where are you taking us?
Well, there's seriously some Big 12 games that deserve to be played, but it would be off brand of me to do so. So what's on brand is to play the first weekday game of the week. And of course I'm going Thursday night. No, I'm not going ACC. I'm going Sun Belt. I'm going Georgia State at Georgia Southern.
Curveball.
If you talk to the Georgia Southern fans, like our guy Clay, he says this is not a rivalry, but perhaps Georgia Southern needs to take it a bit more seriously because they've lost 3 in a row. And Georgia State is 3-1 in Statesboro.
Damn.
This year it's in Statesboro. Come on now, Georgia Southern.
You know why it should be a rivalry? Is Sean Elliott, not Sean Clark. Sean Elliott, their coach, is an App State guy. And if you ask Georgia Southern fans who their number 1 rival is, they say Appalachian State.
Exactly.
Well, Sean Clark not only coached at Appalachian State. I'm sorry, Sean Elliott not only coached at Appalachian State, he played there. So he went to a Georgia school and he's beating the piss out of you. This should be a rivalry.
He's bringing the hatred.
Yes, let's go.
Hey, anytime someone has to go out and say publicly that this is not a rivalry, it means it's a rivalry.
Let's go.
And you know what? Whatever there's a game at Georgia State, it's a bit lackluster.
Yeah,
like that stadium just doesn't. It's it's like half full, if that.
Still better than the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
True. So I'm glad this game is in Statesboro because it's going to have a little bit better feel to it.
Dude, the Peach Bowl used to be held there, right?
I don't know if this is the launching pad. I think this is like it meant. When did they leave and go to this? I feel like the Peach Bowl went to the Georgia Dome. It was at the launching pad before, and then it went to the Georgia Dome, and then they moved into this new baseball stadium. So I don't know what the fuck it is.
I just know when ECU had their 11-1 season, they beat NC State. I thought it was the Peach Bowl.
I think it was at Fulton County.
Was that Fulton County?
I think that was Fulton County.
Either way, they should play more bowl games here.
Colby loves a baseball stadium.
This game is in Statesboro.
Yeah, well, even there too, because Savannah's right down the road, and that's a great city to get fucked up in. So there's that. I love this play. Patty C, what do you make of a little Sun Belt Thursday night action? Patty C's a Virginia guy. He's going to be watching Virginia Tech instead of this game.
No, I like this, although I will, yes. But I do like Georgia State being the Atlanta team. I like Georgia Southern kind of being the Georgia Woods team. Statesboro, I don't know much about it. I assume it's in bumfuck Georgia. But, a little country versus city mouse. Country mouse versus city mouse.
Let's go. All right, Dundee's taking you to, I just got these there's some good Big 12 games. All right. There's some good Big 12 games out there, but I see opportunity. No. I'm going to stay in the Big 12. I'll play this one.
You got to, somebody has to.
I'm going Houston heading to the Little Apple, take on Kansas State. Kansas State won the Big 12 last year. A lot of people forget that. I've listened to some other shows that keep thinking TCU won the Big 12. No, they didn't. Kansas State did.
That's right.
And Kansas State brings back their whole offensive line and their starting quarterback. Watch out. Then you got Dana Holgerson, used car salesman, right? Mike Leach guy. Big year for him. Maybe you want to talk about another coach on the hot seat. Holgerson.
I don't know if he's on the hot seat.
Oh,
how many games did he win 2 years ago? He went double digit wins 2 years ago.
Do you remember what Houston's athletic director said when they first off they fired not Major Applewhite for I think winning 7 or 8 games, and he said 8 wins ain't good enough at Houston. And I think their NIL collective and stuff. I think they got some money there. Watch out. Watch out.
They won 8 last year. The year before they won
10 or something, 12 or something. Yeah.
12, including beating Auburn in the bowl game.
Why has Holgerson even alluded to it then that he's on the hot seat?
Let me tell you what. Houston, a 3-point loss on the road in Lubbock last year in overtime, lost to Cotton Bowl champion Tulane by 3 in overtime. Lost a shootout against SMU despite scoring 63 points, and then lost to Tulsa by 7. This team isn't that far from taking the next step.
But Clayton Toon's gone, Tank Dell's gone, McCaskill's gone. I'm worried about Houston. I think Houston might be the worst team in the Big 12 this year.
Ooh.
And I mean, if it was at home, maybe, but at Kansas State, that's tough, man.
Well, you have planted your flags like securely against the new teams in the Big 12.
Yeah.
You have. But what is our bet? Let's remind the people out there of our bet.
0 teams won't show up there, right?
The 0 teams will crack 9 wins.
Exactly. All 4 of the new teams will not reach 9 regular season wins.
And what do we have on the line here? 5 shots, was it?
Yeah, 5 Molsons.
5 consecutive shots.
Yeah, easy.
I don't want this, pussyfooting throughout the episode shit. I want you to rail them right in a row.
All right, look, I like that matchup, Houston, Kansas State, but Patty C, you're on the clock.
All right, a couple teams that I like that also, probably deserve to be played in this range, but God, I mean, we're going to another new Big 12 versus old Big 12 matchup. I mean, it's clearly probably the worst of the two. We're going Cincinnati versus Cincinnati traveling to Oklahoma State. Just in terms of quality football, Oklahoma State.
These teams were competing for a playoff spot 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Remember Oklahoma State a half yard away from perhaps knocking Cincy out.
Yeah. Cincinnati being Oklahoma, were they 5 at the end of the regular season? Cincy 4.
Yeah.
So an inch made the difference in that. Maybe Oklahoma State still smarting about that. Probably not, but a chance to, start a little chippy rivalry here.
Cincy at Oklahoma State. Nick, your thoughts?
I mean, the game certainly isn't sexy, but it belongs to be played here. If anything, it belongs to be played, 20 minutes, 30 minutes ago or something, because these two teams have been knocking on the door for a long time. And the newness of it all, they haven't played since '83. So it's a fine matchup. It probably deserved to be played sooner, but I guess both teams lack some kind of appeal.
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm excited for it.
It's a good game. We should be, but at the same time, it's like,
Big 12 Colby's on board.
All right. Well, if you were that on board, you would have played it sooner.
Well, I played Houston, Kansas State. All right. So
still.
Well, Oklahoma State is a known quantity. We know what they are. They're the team that's going to get close. They're always going to find a way to fuck it up, usually against Oklahoma in Bedlam. Cincinnati is more of an unknown quantity in the Big 12. We're going to see if their winning ways translate into Power 5 football.
To Dustin. Go ahead, Colby, go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to Dustin Weezus. Says, just got here. Did we shit on my Badgers yet, or is that coming? No, we talked fondly about Madison.
Shit, that was a top 3 play.
Yeah, top 3 play. So go check that out.
That was like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, appreciate you, Dustin. All right, NC Nick, you are on the clock.
Well, you know what? I'm in a Sunbelt mood. I played Sunbelt last round. Let's do it again. Southern Miss at App State. It's on Saturday, which isn't ideal because it could get lost in the sauce, but still, I'm an App State guy. They're certainly at the top of the Sun Belt East. Southern Miss is working their way up the Sun Belt West. It's a fun game between two great historic football programs that may be off the beaten path, but historic nonetheless. So sign me up.
This game's awesome. Let me tell you this right here. Southern Miss and ECU used to play all the time in the Conference USA. So I know Southern Miss very well. Southern Miss, their fans even say the original Boise State, right? Southern Miss, there's something about the attitude in the program that is App State. They remind me of each other.
Oh, they remind you of me, and I'm going to drop this term again. This is my fetch moment for the week. They are homo aestheticsexual. Okay, they look the same. They had the black and the gold.
I don't think that's like gaining traction.
Wait, I'm gonna keep working on it.
All right. There's a certain je ne sais quoi about this. Yeah, but there's something about these programs. They're fearless. They go schedule anybody, and I find this like I want ECU to join the Sun Belt because I think ECU is in the same fashion as Southern Miss and App State. They'll go play anywhere. They'll play. Before Scotty Montgomery, we would actually be competitive against anybody, and I feel like Southern Miss and App State have that no nonsense style to them, right? And there's not many of those group of fives. Like the only other ones that like Boise and Fresno would kind of fit. Maybe you could talk me into the Aztecs, but Boise and Fresno kind of have that on the West. I want them in like a conference, even though I know that's the whole United States. They have the same attitude and they take football serious, and they if you're not paying attention, they will fuck you up.
And at the same time, on the flip side of that is a Saturday in Boone in October with the fall foliage. It's pretty beautiful.
It is. Do we rate these two teams as their two best stadiums in the Sun Belt?
I think we did. I think
maybe
we
had not best stadiums, but maybe best
home environment.
Right.
Yeah.
But both have good stadiums too.
Yeah, I like both stadiums. Yeah.
Phenomenal on both fronts.
So Southern Miss at App State, you better believe, like, I know that it's probably not a gigantic rivalry, but it needs, it will
if
be.
Southern Miss is coming up, if they really are like making improvements, which it seems like, what was it, Will Hall?
Yeah.
Then I think, they're improving as a program. It's not presumably Frank Gore running the quarterback show.
Even if so, they still win games. They win games. Yeah. They were
last 2 years. It has defaulted to that at different points. So it might again.
Well, either way, they are definitely coming up. And if it is, then what division wise, are they in the same division?
No, Sun Belt or Southern Miss is in Sun Belt West. And App State's in somebody. So this could be a preview of the Sun Belt Championship. They should play every year though. There's something about those two that just stand out to me. All right, Patty C jumps. Or no. Yeah, jumps to me now.
Yeah. Don't short yourself.
Jumps to me, and you know what? As much as I want to play some of these weekday games, nope. I am taking you. Let's stay in the Sun Belt. Marshall heads to Brooks Stadium to take on Coastal Carolina, and look, I like it. I like these games. I kind of wish these were weekday games because I just like the culture of these two programs. Marshall is kind of like Southern Miss and App State, to tell you the truth, right? Coastal Carolina has kind of emerged as this meth beach town team, which I can enjoy, right? But Marshall kind of has that same attitude as Southern Miss, App State.
Yeah, this is mountain meth
that's why
versus beach meth.
ECU needs to get in the Sun Belt because they fit in with that. So Marshall at Coastal Carolina. Nick, your thoughts?
I love it. I think I'm going to be at this game. I just cleared my schedule for the beach house this weekend. I think I'll be there.
Nice. Now with Jamie Chadwell there, I guess we would have thought at home Coastal Carolina is the clear favorite,
but they kept the OC. That's what's interesting. Is look, I at first was out on Tim Beck because he was terrible as an OC to me at NC State, but keeping the OC, I think they're going to still be running a lot of the same stuff.
It was a very interesting move.
Yeah,
and from what I hear, I'm starting to gain more faith in it. Also, same here. Just exactly what Colby said. At first, I was like, "Oh man, I don't know," but the more I hear, the more I'm starting to talk myself into thinking Coastal is going to be okay.
Well, I think that pleases all of us because we're huge Coastal fans. Marshall, meanwhile, has surprised us.
Biggest win of their career or their history. Won at Notre Dame last year.
I mean, yeah, that program is rolling. It's going to be a chippy matchup. Who do you got in that right now?
I got Marshall. But
Coastal.
But this is what I mean though. Marshall, Fresno State, Southern Miss, App State, ECU, Boise.
Yeah.
They should be a conference.
Drunk ass towns like that.
It's just like perfect. It's beautiful football.
Poor academics. Yeah, it's great. They love football.
Yeah,
They're idiots. They're drunk idiots.
Something about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it jumps back to you, Penny.
Going in the opposite direction of drunk idiots, we're going to go with pussies. We have Virginia going to Miami. Yeah, I had to play it. I only have 2 plays left. And, I'm saving my last play for something very special. But Virginia going to Miami. There's going to be 5 people at the game. But talk about 2 programs that desperately need the wins. Tony Elliott might be on the hot seat. Mario Cristobal obviously could use all the wins he can get. And this has not been a give me for Miami. A give me. I think UVA could challenge them. We're all assuming that Tony Elliott year 2 is just going to suck ass. Look, some stuff happened, right? There was a mass murder that happened.
That shit happened way late in the season. It wasn't like he was doing fine until then.
You want to know how bad Miami has been since 2006?
Okay, fine.
Since 2006, Miami has 9 wins. Virginia has 8.
There you go. If you're into competitive football and no
That's
crowds,
shocking.
if you're a USFL fan, this game should delight you.
Nick, your thoughts? You're an ACC guy. Virginia.
This was not on my top 30, guys. Hard to talk up this one.
Look, Miami.
I'm surprised he didn't play the Virginia Tech game on Thursday over this. Honestly, I would rather see the Virginia Tech game than this one.
Especially because that's Thursday. Yes.
Yeah, and it's at a better environment. Like watching a game at Coral Gables is like
okay. Let me tell you this: Virginia is my team, and Miami is still a sexy team, right? Syracuse doesn't have that going, and Virginia Tech is second in the pecking order to Virginia. I hate to say it, but it's out there.
Interesting. Okay, NC Nick, it jumps over to you. Dustin says UVA is going to go for the imperfect season. I think he's right. Nick, what are you doing here?
Sorry, I'm going kind of out of my order here just because I'm on a Sunbelt kick. And there's one more Sunbelt game, which I think is fantastic. And it's Louisiana at South Bama. It is the Sunbelt version of Alabama LSU. And
I like it.
This is a big year for the Raging Cajuns.
Quite the angle. I like it.
And our guy Desarmo down there.
Mike Devereaux.
Yeah, and look,
I know that movie.
No, he's a baseball player for the Orioles. Yeah. Maybe he's
I'm curious, Patty. What were you thinking of?
It's a really cheesy '90s movie with Ashley Judd, and she goes down to Louisiana, and I don't know, she gets almost a Double Jeopardy or something like that.
Yeah.
Something. And the bad guy is like
Mike Devereaux. Huh?
Maybe got a Frenchish name. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Anywho,
these Sunbelt games are flying off the shelves. Louisiana at South Bama.
Look, if you look at Sunbelt West, it certainly appears that Troy and South Bama are making major moves. And go back 2 years ago, this was Louisiana's division. I mean, they killed it. So they're in a tricky spot here where they better compete now, and they better be right up there with Troy or South Bama, or they're just going to be completely taken over. So I think it's a big year for the Raging Cajuns, and this game was very close. I think it was a one-score game last year, so I think it would behoove them to get a road win here against the Jaguars.
I like it. All right, I'm taking you to a game that you probably don't have on your slate. Probably think, Kobe, this is a terrible play. But I see opportunity. I see opportunity in Chestnut Hill. When right now there's talk that
every fucking week you take a Boston College game.
Look, there's talk that UConn could go to the Pac-12 or the Big 12, right? There's talk. Their college baseball team's really good. Their college basketball team just won the national championship. Jim Moore in year 1 took them bowling, and now they head to Chestnut Hill. The ACC they took the wrong team. They took Boston College. They should have took UConn. UConn goes in to Chestnut Hill and gets the win.
I'm
Patty
glad
C,
you played this.
Northeastern football is back.
I wanted this to be played, and I'm glad you played it. It's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, look, are we sure UConn? Are they bringing back the quarterback?
Well, no, he only played a game last year because he got tore his ACL.
That's what I'm saying. Are they all of a sudden like a real threat to win this game?
Yes.
Are they going to steal Northeast recruiting?
And do I need to mention that UConn before last year was 0-6 against Boston College? Jim Mora last year, guess what happens? In Stores or Hartford, wherever the fuck, they won 13-3, and they beat the mighty ACC.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're talking about ACC expansion, you're talking about defending national champion UConn. 4 titles in the last 23 years.
Talking Big 12 is going for UConn.
Big 12 is looking at UConn, but if the ACC is looking to expand and beating an ACC team in the same area repeatedly, that's selling yourself a little bit.
UConn, Boston College. Nick, you're an ACC guy. I know you endorse this one.
No, I'm a big fan of Dirty South football, not Northeast football. This game sucks.
It's got your ACC teams in this, though.
Look, Boston is the dirty South of the Northeast. There's a bunch of fucking racist mix up there. Like, look, we're all in agreement here. I think everyone knows this.
Yes,
I'm not saying anything we don't know.
All right, it jumps back to you, Patty.
All right, let me give it in case one of you guys doesn't play it later. Then I want to give some.
Is this the last round?
Honorable mention shouts. Yeah. Let's give some honorable mentions.
Hold on, but do the last
for a moment. Of course, I'm going to Harrisonburg, Virginia, where the fucking Old Dominion Monarchs are going to play the James Madison Dukes, and I forget what they call this rivalry.
They call it the Sun Belt.
It's the royal rivalry.
The Royal Flush.
The Royal Flush, yeah, because we're going to flush the
Royal Crown
on there. Yeah, that's more appropriate. And look, James Madison has revenge on the mind.
Did you lose to ODU last year?
I don't know if we. But I feel like we've lost to them a lot more than we probably should have.
Nick, so every Sunbelt game's getting played this week.
I love it. I love it. It's crazy. JMU won 37-3.
Oh, we crushed them at the beginning of the year.
They have a losing record against ODU. They're 1-2 all time.
Maybe they can change it.
That's what it was.
Apparently, D. Bettis is a big JMU fan. I did not know that. JMU and Ohio State, strange mix, but okay. Dude, Sunbelt, I love it, man. I love the spotlight that the Sunbelt is getting this week. Let's do it.
Let's go.
And look, UVA, Virginia Tech, and I guess Liberty gets kind of left out of that scene, but there are those that would argue that Old Dominion and JMU are the 2 best teams in the state.
I would say the Flamin' Libs are number 1.
Well, they're not part of any rivalry. They're independents, They're fucking
not independent anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, where are they now?
CUSA, buddy.
Oh, it's the USA. Either way, they're in a subpar conference.
You should get out and see the USA.
Hello.
NC Nick, where are you going?
Dude, I mean, now we're definitely getting all hipster. So let me go back to an actual, Power 5 game. Purdue, Nebraska, I guess.
There you go.
I mean, for the battle of first-year head coaches. Is Big Ten West. Am I excited to watch this? No. Will I watch any of it? Probably not. But somebody has to play it, right?
I love it because you did not play the Virginia Tech game.
At this point, like, nobody should play it just because it's a thing that we just shouldn't play it. But I mean, it probably deserves to be played too.
There was a time Donovan McNabb versus Michael Vick that game actually was kind of fun.
The Athletic just dropped an article about Syracuse's program and what happened to it. It was so good for so long. Honestly, you go back and look. I tweeted this thing out. They only had like 5 or 6 losing seasons for like I feel like 40 years, 50 years, and they've been. But hey, last year they went bowling, Dino Babers. But instead, Nick takes Purdue, Nebraska, and I got to be honest, I'd rather watch Purdue, Nebraska because the 2 first-year coaches,
the defending Big Ten West champs.
Yep. So I agree.
Where's the game being played?
Lincoln.
There's probably going to be a sellout for that game. A big, 85,000 person crowd.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. And Matt Rule, maybe
will
the Big
he
Ten
rule
West.
the day?
That is the question.
All right. All right. Final pick of the draft.
Bring us home.
I'm taking you to Tucson because I think Oregon State. I think it's a little bit of a trap game here. Arizona keeps improving under Jed Fish. They almost went bowling last year, and Oregon State won 10 games. Or was it 11 or 10? I think maybe even 11 a year ago. And Jonathan Smith's got this program rolling. And I think it's a sneaky away spot because it's kind of sleepy. Remember the Oregon schools, I feel like always have trouble in the desert. So Oregon State at Arizona, my final play. What do you make of this one, Nick?
I like it. I mean, this game also deserves to be played. For me, it was one of either for the Purdue, Nebraska or this one. So nothing very exciting about this, but Oregon State is really good and Arizona is moving their way up, and it's a road trip for the Beavers. So it's a solid game.
Solid game. D-Bet is talking about JMU chicks love the DC guys. They
that's the truth.
Yeah, JMU chicks love whatever they can get their hands on.
That's what I'm saying.
As long as there's a D involved in it, they're in.
D Bettis, you got hope.
D Bettis.
All right, look, let's get to the FCS game of the week. Patty C, you lead the way with this one. Where are you taking us?
Real quick, let's throw out some missed ones.
How about how you have UConn, Boston College at the same time, UMass and Army, Northeast football.
Northeast football exploding. Also, I love a little San Jose versus Hawaii. Have to throw them in. It's a hard ticket. Look,
I love Air Force, Colorado State. That's a big time Colorado rivalry.
How far away? I was just about to look up those two. That's
I don't think they're that far
Fort
away.
Collins and where's Colorado State? Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I don't think it's like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, 2-3 hours.
Okay, maybe what's the ones that are right?
I love Wyoming, Boise.
Is that Wyoming versus Colorado? Yeah, Wyoming, Boise.
Wyoming, Boise's always fun.
Colorado Springs, Fort Collins, 2 hours away from each other.
The only problem with Wyoming, Boise is that it's the series is 16-1 in Boise's favor.
But they're always close. I feel like
in Wyoming they are. At Boise, there's been some very lopsided games.
Okay, but I still think it's a fun game. There's something about those two, those two teams.
Let me say, at this point in the schedule, there's not much, trash. You're mostly into conference play.
True.
I don't see any incredible trash on there.
Well, that's gonna be the what the fuck game. So don't worry about that. Let's just
we're doing
FCS right now. What are you doing?
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go to the Dakotas. You can't miss. It's my layup. Defending national champs, South Dakota State, traveling to arch rival South Dakota.
Do you guys remember this game 2 years ago? The last time they played in this dome was a Hail Mary that, first off, South Dakota State elected to run a play instead of punt. They tried to run the clock with the quarterback running around, right? He gets tackled and the turnover on downs stops the clock. Then South Dakota throws like a 70-yard Hail Mary where a guy on crutches on the sideline drops the crutches and runs on the field to celebrate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this thing was absolutely fucking fantastic. It is at a filthy dome, but it's got a good history knowing that matchup the last time they played there. Nick, your thoughts on South Dakota State, South Dakota?
Dude, I've always said in the FCS, there's always go to the Dakotas and you're good to go.
Well played. I think they've been playing this one a long time too. I think it's like 100 years old. NC Nick, what are you doing here with your FCS game?
Well, other than the Dakotas, there's also some really good FCS football close to me. So let me go Camels at Spiders. Campbell at nice Richmond. Our guy Mike Minter recruiting his ass off at Campbell. He's building that program. Richmond has always been a strong program in the FCS. This is a good close game to me. Both games within a couple hours. Let's do it.
I love this, man. And I love the camel spider thing. Because they both exist in the desert. You know what I mean? The little desert creatures.
And what other teams in any other sport are named the camels or the spiders?
That's true. That is very true.
You're familiar with what a camel spider is, right?
Oh, there's that too.
Dude, you want to freak yourself out. These dudes that are old buddies from Iraq used to talk about these camel spider bites, and they have like what the toxic and they'll just eat your arm off basically.
Talk about
Saddam. That's some
that's your old buddy.
That's my buddy.
He was misunderstood.
Yeah, he was a big supporter of Northeast football, and that is why I got to play this one, guys. There's one team that's must watch in FCS. It's not from the Dakotas either. It's the Crusaders of Holy Cross and Matthew Saluka, because they are heading to Fordham. This was a crazy game a year ago. They're heading to the Bronx to take on Fordham. And this game, I'm telling you, I believe this was an overtime game a year ago. So Holy Cross heading to Fordham. Both teams made the FCS playoffs a year ago. Let's go. Northeast football is back.
This is where Northeast football is back. I mean, both of the areas of the country that are represented, underrepresented, the Dakotas and the Northwest kind of, and then the Northeast.
Vince Lombardi, Fordham.
That's right. There's potential at that program. Both of them playing great football at the FCS level. Maybe they're ready to make the jump, but it would be nice to see at least the Northeast get to the national championship.
Matthew Saluka for Heisman. All right. Everyone talks Tebow. Saluka's he's Tebow 2.0. All right. Your what the fuck game of the week before we get out of here is what, Petty C?
Well, I don't get brain man cold, but
I feel like this one's a little bit straightforward here. I don't know. New Mexico, Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, that sounds pretty terrible.
Pretty much.
Or New Mexico State. I guess you got Jerry Kill there.
At least that's a weekday game, though.
Yeah, on Tuesday. We'll probably watch it. But it's just not a good game.
New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech. Nick, what do you think of this one?
I mean, is it a good game? No, but on a weekday, it is a weekday game. I think you probably could have.
Look, I shit my pants on a weekday some days. It doesn't mean it's good, right? It's still uncomfortable to watch, you know.
George Brett 2.0 over here. Right. Look, okay, Nick, where are you going with your Lou Holtz? What the fuck game of the week?
I don't get.
I mean, honestly, I really could have thought UConn, BC, or UVA, Miami, but you guys played those in our top 30.
Wow.
You know,
hater.
As much as I love the Sun Belt, there's some shitty games too. And Arkansas State at ULM is a pretty shitty game that nobody cares about. Nobody will be there in
Never
person.
fade a belt in a shitty game.
Nobody will be there.
Border battle.
On TV either.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna play my Lou Holtz what the fuck game of the week. And I think you guys missed this one. Surprised that this didn't go number one. Maryland at Northwestern. Look, I never want to see Maryland in the Big Ten, and the fact they're in the Big Ten and playing Northwestern does absolutely nothing for me.
It's a shitty
game. I would actually, I think I'd rather watch the games you played than Maryland and Northwestern.
Let me sell Maryland versus Northwestern to you a little bit. All right. Maryland, one of the lowest graduation rates in all of college football. Northwestern, one of the highest, right?
So you got DC area against Chicago, I guess.
I think it's better at Northwestern. It's worse at Maryland.
Well, this one's at Northwestern.
I know, so it's better. So it's worse if it was at Maryland.
I think they both suck in terms of environment.
I think this game sucks.
Well, I like the trust me, the game sucks, but I like the feel of a game at Northwestern with the grass. I don't know, something about the stadium.
True. I would rather see the game played in Evanston, than in College Park. But still,
the game
sucks.
Yeah. All right, folks, this is the College Football Experience. We appreciate the fact you were tuning in. Remember, next week we go live. 133 teams, 133 episodes. Different episode for every single team in the land. We got you covered like we do every fucking year. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Get on over there. It's football season, folks. Memorial Day's over. Get over there. Give us the 5-star review. Do it now. Also give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And remember, subscribe on YouTube. We can watch this episode, youtube.com/the college experience. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Give us all a follow and buckle up because we are just getting started when it comes to college football. This is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.